Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two dumb Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. It's episode 849. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm glad to see everybody on the board. Good morning, all. Glad to see everybody. We're all still trying to recover a little bit from Sunday night, I do believe. I do want to say, though, yesterday we did make a last-moment call for to observe Veterans Day. And it came about a strange way because Mike asked, he texted about an hour before the show. He says, "Hey, man, is it all right if we take the day off? It's Veterans Day. And my brother's getting married at noon, and I wanted to see if I could watch it on Zoom." I said, "Your brother's getting married at noon?" And he said, "Yeah." And I was like, "That's no problem. I wish you would have told me sooner. We could have made sure you were accommodated." But ended up being the whole thing, and he didn't even get to watch the wedding. But the most shocking part to me, Mike, was the fact that you literally told me 1 hour before his wedding that he was getting married. And we need to hear your mic.
I'm sorry, my bad. I knew he was getting married. He's getting married out of the country, and I forgot.
It was in Peru, no less. I mean,
yeah, and I forgot. You know, when I got my flute back there and everything, and I forgot that my mom told me, "Hey, they're doing it for those that weren't able to travel. They're gonna have a Zoom for it so we can watch it and everything." And then there was something wrong with the stream. I couldn't get it on my computer. I couldn't figure it out. And eventually, my mom was able to, she got in, was able to watch it on the phone and everything. But I didn't think to check my phone. I was trying. I thought, okay, maybe a bad link, something happens. You know how things go. Yeah. Yeah,
well, I had no.
I totally forgot I was able to watch. I was like, "Oh shit, I got to be there." He's my brother.
I had no problem at all taking the day for Veterans Day, which I do want to say to any and all veterans out there, thank you for your service. It was not a problem. It wouldn't have been a problem. But again, it was just such a weird last minute thing. He says, "Yeah, my brother's getting married at noon, and I was just seeing if we could take the day off so I could watch the wedding on Zoom." Just like more, just kind of like
just like, hey, man. Like my puppy's sick or some shit, brother getting married, just
there
tired.
you go. the brother of Mike, married in Peru, and Mike did not even get to play his Peru flute. As he has
I did
behind
not
him,
get to play.
and we have heard him play that before, Mike. That would have made it all well worth it. But congratulations to your brother. Happy
Yes,
Veterans Day to the veterans, everybody. We're glad to be back. I'm certainly glad to be back. One thing before we do get started, here's one for you. Check this out, guys. You know how I'm always going on with my conspiracies that I'm crazy about this and crazy about that. Remember the McGraw and Hill textbooks that we all pretty much had through our whole entire lives? McGraw and Hill. Well, apparently in 1989 to 1993, it was owned by joint ownership with the people of McGraw and Hill and Richard Maxwell. Who's Richard Maxwell, you ask? Richard Maxwell is Jeffrey Epstein's wife's dad. What's the chances Epstein's wife's dad was the owner of the creator of our textbooks for 4 years in the late 80s, early 90s? So again, me with my crazy shit, I don't know. What's the chances? What is the fucking chances of all the billions of people in the world? Jeffrey Epstein's wife, her dad, was involved with making all the textbooks that we got to read from as young people and helped educate and form our fragile minds.
That is great. That is just great.
So there you go, guys. A little something to think about as the week heads forward. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Glad to see everybody again. Episode 849. It's Bengals week. It's hump day. We're getting ready for I'm talking about a big showdown this weekend, guys. This is, listen, I know I say this every week, but if we win, we hang on by a string in feeling good about anything that might happen for this team moving forward. But if we lose, the Ravens could tie us in the division. Only one team from the AFC North is going to make the playoffs. Nobody's going to make it outside of the division winner. Cincy will beat us 2 in a row in one season. And again, it'll be another at least 2-game losing streak that we'll be on. So this game is and I always say, Mike, the biggest one is the one ahead of you. This couldn't be any bigger. This game, like this is the biggest game of the year to set the tone, to figure out if, and again, we're not even talking to be in contention for the Super Bowl. We're talking about just getting that one playoff win this season is all that I'm saying right now. That from what I'm seeing right now, that could be a huge success. But the question is, are we going to be able to make it there? The same exact situation is coming back around that just happened a month ago, guys. We did lose 3 out of the last 4, and the first one of those losses were against the Bengals. Here we get them again, this time at home. And no action at the trade deadline last week. That kind of bummed everybody out. But they did end up making a splash move yesterday, which I was kind of surprised because he was supposed to be here today. Of course, I'm talking about Asante Samuel Jr. He did get signed to the practice squad. He was originally supposed to be here Wednesday. So whether he come up here early or whatever he did, because he was supposed to visit about 3 or 4 other teams, we snatched his ass up. He probably got out of bed before he went to any other meeting, and we were on the phone with him. Dude, we're going to take you. We need you. Because for some ungodly reason, we need to go through every defensive back in the NFL to try to stop a passing attack in the league. This is almost becoming comical in the sense that with the Browns, the way they always go out and get the best quarterbacks and the biggest names, and they just stink, and they go through them all, and they try them for a while, and they don't work, and they go on to the next. We're basically having a similar situation on our defensive backfield. We're going out and getting the biggest names, the biggest guys, the Super Bowl winners, and then they're not working, and we're just pedaling right through, just going and grabbing more. Whatever the best thing is out there, we're taking it. It's kind of becoming embarrassing. I think the whole coaching staff is crazy from head to toe. Because you can't possibly go through 1 million players and have the same results over 10 years with a bunch of different people. It's insane. You just can't. It's either your system's bad or you're literally bringing in the worst players that ever played the game that can't improve. Because this has been the same deal for 10 years. And I'm talking about no playoff wins. And if you feel any different than that, Mike, I would invite you to share your opinion.
I was just confused how you went from we're signing a player at a position of need that should improve the team to
Mm-hmm.
this is what we've been doing for 10 years now. I failed. You lost me. You lost
Okay.
me. You lost me big
So
time.
if you would have listened to the beginning of the conversation where I had said it's similar to what the Cleveland Browns are doing, and their position of need has been quarterback, and they continue to go after what appears to be the best possible option. They go after everybody. I mean, look at the list. They've had 1 million quarterbacks in 20 years. We're basically in the same position. Now, let me say this to you. If Asante Samuel doesn't come and fix anything, it's going to exactly be that situation. So whatever you don't understand, I'm not sure how you're not understanding.
It's just I just failed to see the argument that you're presenting. Like they went out and got a guy in a position of need,
a guy that just came
he's
off
not coming
spinal infusion. But go ahead, you was just down on this guy 2 days ago.
I was, and I was like, I'm hesitant about it. And, you know, they got him cheap. If it works out, awesome. If it doesn't, oh well. So I don't think this is like a game-changing move. I think he can.
Absolutely not. We're not even in. We're not even in the ballpark for a game-changing move. We're that far off.
But what I think he can do, if he gets into football shape, he plays on the outside. Porter's on the outside. That keeps Jalen Ramsey at safety. Him and Kyle Duggar. In the limited time those two have been back there, we have not been getting beat over the top. And you get Samuels out there. He's played this similar defensive system before that he played it out in San Diego, the similar concept. So once he gets, his physical, if he's in football shape and ready to go right now, you can plug him and play him in. He doesn't have a big learning curve. Lloyd Kyle Duggar didn't have a big learning curve. The secondary, after all their injuries, starts to settle down. And this move right here, hopefully, in with Jair Alexander walking away from football in Philly, could see Darius Slay be cut, released, and walked away, and have more playing time for maybe, hopefully, someone like James Pierre. Who would have thought we would be saying that? But he's been playing well recently. He's like 20 passes thrown towards his way, 7 pass breaks up, or 12 passes thrown his way, 7 pass breakups in the last couple games. He's been playing well. This move, and everything else they've done in this secondary as the season has gone on, they jettisoned Thornhill. They're making smart moves back there in the secondary after all the injuries. It's starting to settle down at least on giving up long plays over the top. Finally, the front seven's getting to the quarterback quickly. It's been about a game and a half. You're right. Now we're going to get. Okay, so no improvement. No improvement is good then. They can't get better. They're not allowed to get better.
That's exactly my argument. My argument is there's no improvement. And again, I don't see us getting any further than we did in the past 9 years is where I'm going in the big picture and the small picture. What I'm saying is how many big name DBs can you possibly bring in before you could finally stop a team from passing on you? Well, we'll find out. They're talking about possibly Samuel getting involved this weekend. If he's still in the practice squad, guys, we'll get into all those things in just a moment. And also all these other players, Mike. So in a perfect world, everything that we did, it should be working in our favor. However, it's not. We're still getting, again, before a game and a half ago, things didn't magically fix itself. Things were bad. I think that we could admit that teams were passing all over us. I think that we could admit that Joe Flacco was passing all over us. I think that we could admit that Jordan Love was passing all over us. These are no secrets. The thing that I'm saying is this. It doesn't matter who we're bringing in. It isn't. Listen, how many times we brought players in? We brought in Levi Wallace, Steve Nelson, the whole way down the list. Every year we try to bring somebody in to help, and nothing really helps. That's beginning to tell me. Now, I'm not going to go head coach here, but you can involve head coach. It's telling me that this defensive coordinator is having a hard time figuring out how to stop any NFL defenses unless it's somebody that we played, and we won one of these games where we got 15 turnovers. Of course, that goes into it as well. But you can't listen. How many guys can we possibly bring in? And also, we have 100 tight ends because that was the game plan, and we barely use them. We have 100 defensive backs, and we can't stop the pass. Something's got to give at some point where we start to look somewhat successful, especially after the moves we make. In a perfect world, what you said is perfectly true. If he comes in and he's able to help and bring that youth at 25, 26 years old, fantastic. But is that, that one move out of the 50% of starters that we turned over this offseason, I'm having a hard time right now believing that that's going to make this big difference. And again, when you had Porter and Ramsey and Slay, it was okay, good times. I mean, this is good stuff. 3 big names. I mean, come on. We went out and got the 3 biggest possible names you could get. Guess what? It didn't work. Now that's not working. Guys are injured. We're bringing more big names in. We had one Thorn. I mean, these are guys' names that you certainly recognize around the league. And again, Mike, it's just going to really have to play out for me. There's no way that I could even begin to think that this isn't clownish until I see otherwise. Because if we come out and shit the bed again this Sunday, I mean, you're sitting at 5-5 again with 7 games left. And those 7 games, I mean, if you're 5-5 at this point, it's going to be hard to decide which 4 games of those last 7 that we're going to be able to win to help Mike Tomlin keep his 500 record.
Yeah, it will be to see how this team can, remain competitive. But I don't see the point of hey, this move didn't work. Okay, so we're going to move on and get to it. Oh my God, why would they do that? It's don't
very Cleveland Brownish. It looks very clownish, is what it looks like.
So they should just stick with what wasn't working and not try move guys around in the secondary.
Mike, you do realize that we just did something that most teams don't do. They don't go out and grab all the big names in the league and bring them in. That's one thing that you don't see. And when you do see it in pro sports, you generally laugh at teams that do that. It's in basketball. It happens a lot. They bring in all the big names to play on one big team. Now, whether they're still superstars or not, they bring them in and they build these super teams. And what we did is we went out and basically did the same thing in an NFL kind of way and brought in all these big name players. Maybe they are 30, maybe whatever. I mean, 30 or not, the guy still can't cover Jamar Chase to save his life. But, we're doing the exact same thing. So every time something doesn't go our way, we just say, well, fuck that. Let's go grab the next big thing. We look silly. We look desperate right now. I don't know how with that face you can think that we don't look desperate as a football team, as this team continues to look for answers and fails to find them continuously. There's no way this team makes 500 this year, Mike, in my opinion.
I just why you look silly when something doesn't work. You okay, shit, it's not
because you brought in all the best, and guess what? That wasn't working for you. You tried the douchebag move. You went out and got all the best players and all the best names, expecting, what? If I have all these people on my team, how could things go bad? Well, we failed. That's why.
That's just a weird way of looking at it.
It's really not. It's very logical. Please explain why it's weird.
To me, it's just like, Mike.
Let me ask. Okay,
they went out and got guys that they thought had something still left in the tank at the positions that they were.
And that just shows how good
have realized that
shows how good we are in that area, because they obviously don't, and we're thinking that they do, and bringing them in and going through the motions.
Yeah, because the previous couple of years they were showing that they were still playing at a high level, and
they certainly were.
They have a couple of years left in the tank, and so hey, you know what, Jalen Ramsey, you don't have it to be a corner anymore. Guess what? You're going to play safety. Guess what? He's playing as one of the better safeties in the league.
In the one game he played, yes, I would 100% agree.
In the couple games he's played at safety,
1.5.
Darius Slay, they're still using him because they don't have any.
Terrible,
guess
Mike.
what?
Mike,
Darius Slay sucks, and his snap
terrible.
count has gone down, and now they're going to go out and get someone else
hurt.
to play in his
why.
place. Where you're starting to see more Brandon Echols, you're starting to see more of James Pierre.
He's hurt. That's why his snap counts
even before he got hurt, his snap counts were starting to go down there.
And so are our most productive players as well. I mean, you're seeing on the offensive side of the ball guys who should be getting higher snap counts. Their numbers going down. I'm not convinced that this coaching staff knows what they're doing from top to bottom. I think that it's a mess. It looks to me as a mess. And if I was looking from the outside, it would certainly look like a mess. And I don't think that we have much of a leg to stand on to defend ourselves, because, again, I don't see much good, if anything, that's coming from this organization. Certainly not this year, certainly not the last 5 years, and absolutely not for the past 9 years. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon. And if it does, you know what? I'll tell you that I'm wrong right when it happens. But I can't imagine. I can't imagine this team finding its way to winning four of the last 7. It's going to be very difficult.
So when every time they lose a game this year, you have no right to complain then, because it's giving you exactly
because it's not a sport talk show, and I won't complain. So that's kind of one of the dumbest things. But
I'm just going to say you're setting
entertain us, please.
Lose out, so you can't complain. You're just going to come in and, hey, this is what happened. I said it was going to happen,
as I do usually.
How it's going to happen now? Provide.
I'm going to continue the exact same way I always go, because that's just what I do. But whatever you want to think about that is fine with me. But I'm just saying, this team has, listen to this, Russell Wilson, who just got demoted to the 3rd string quarterback for the Giants. Guys, his numbers, even at this point, are starting to pass what Aaron Rodgers did in his first amount of games here. I can pull him up here in just a moment if you can. and I can look in this and show you the difference, Mike. In it's just not good. Things aren't good. If Russell Wilson's putting up better numbers at this point as a Steeler quarterback last year than Aaron Rodgers is, that's just again another piece of this. At what point does any of this start to feel good and look good to any Steeler fan? Here it is. So in his first five starts, Russell Wilson was 4-1, obviously, and so was Aaron Rodgers, 4-1. Over the next 7 games, Russell Wilson went 2-7. Well, Aaron's only had 4 after that, but he's gone 1-3, so he's getting close to his 2-7. Russell Wilson was putting out 225.6 yards per game. Aaron Rodgers is putting 205.9 yards per game. The whole way down the list, completion percentage, 63.7 for Russell Wilson, 66 for Aaron Rodgers, very close. Passing rating right there, 95 for Wilson, 97 for Aaron Rodgers. Quarterback rating actually higher for Russell Wilson up to this point last year with a 47.9. Quarterback rating for Aaron Rodgers, 44.9. And also, it doesn't matter because I hate this organization, but PFF even has Russell Wilson's play through the first 5 games about 15 points higher than Aaron Rodgers. So, I'm not going to complain about one thing. I'm not going to complain about a defensive back. I'm not going to complain about a coaching. I'm going to say that this whole thing is a clusterfuck right now. And if somebody doesn't take control of this train, it is going to go off the track for 9 years in a row. And this football team, again, not being spoiled, we would just like a playoff win. That's all. Mike, this team is not showing any signs of being able to beat a playoff team in January, unless it's Indianapolis, I guess. But if we went to the playoffs today, and we're not, we would be hosting the Chargers once again. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel too confident after playing the Chargers last week. Let me just throw one more bit of information out there, and then we will get to the board. We have so much to get into today, guys. This was, Mike, remember how we laughed when they showed us Cam Hayward and said he was the number 1 defensive tackle? Guys, take a look at what the Chargers offensive line was. This was the offensive line that we were up against. Their center, Mike, he is 36 out of 36. Their right tackle, he's 35 out of 36 at his position. Their right guard, he's 36 of 37 at his position. Left tackle, 38 of 38. So again, what work do we have to do to be able to put a team on the field that could stay in a game with a team that's built like this? Yes, 25-10 sounds fantastic. I think we could all agree that the Roman Wilson touchdown at the end was kind of shit points. I mean, it's debatable, but again, it's 3 points that this teammate was able to score against a team that's not that. They're having a lot of trouble. I mean, injuries out the ass. That was something that we know going in. Yes, they have a good defense, but if we can't play football against a semi-good defense in the league, what can we really do? I'm glad that it's the Bengals, Mike. Ben Roethlisberger says that we could beat the Bengals by 15 points this week. I don't know if I agree. I hope he's right. But yes, I find it difficult to figure that this team could get to 500, and I'll stand by that. And if I'm wrong every week, I'll say that I'm wrong every week. If I'm right every week, I'll say that I'm right every week. But I'm having a difficult time thinking, okay, well, we got a good piece. Let's put them in, and things are going to get fixed. It hasn't been consistent and hasn't even shown signs of being able to sustain more than a 3-game period of time. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be combative. I'm just trying to lay it all out there. And again, to me, I would laugh at us if I wasn't a Steeler fan.
All I'm going to say about that, the Chargers game and the Steelers defense, they were playing really well up front. They had 30 pressures on.
Well, they literally played the worst line in the league. Okay,
he had 30 pressures on him, and they were getting to him until the offense could not stay on the field, and that defense wore down. I hate having to defend the defense like that, but it is true. You watch as the game went on, that offense is out there on the field and does anything. That defense was really close to taking complete control of that game. Whether they were starting to get gassed up front, then all of a sudden the Chargers were able to run the ball and start passing the ball more efficiently because of that, because they were handling the run game until they just literally ran out of gas on the front end. But yeah, like Cam as the number 1 D tackle in the league, that is a farce. That is a joke.
Some things, guys, and I swear I'm going to get to you. Some activity on the roster yesterday. You know what? Let's get to the board, Mike. I don't want to make people wait any longer than they have to. I do want to say happy Hump Day. And again, if I missed anybody on the Veterans Day wishes, I want to wish you a happy Veterans Day as well. If you served, or if you were serving, or if you're going to serve, or any kind of serving, guys, I do appreciate you more than you know. And again, it was a late scratch yesterday because Mike's brother was getting married within the hour, and he wanted to attend the wedding. And I said, yes, please, by all means, attend the wedding. So that there was a little bit of a mix up, but nonetheless, we are back. Let me start right here with John, my man, Big John Stud. He says, I do want to say good morning to you, sir. He says offensive indicators, one, can't sustain drives. Rogers release time and happy feet targets are open. Does that get any better? Of course, we've seen the happy feet that we kind of seen earlier on, I guess, but it was all new level this past week.
Yeah, it was a whole new level of happy feet this level, and a whole new level of inaccuracy on him in this game.
And also, it was brought to my attention, Mike, that all three games that we lost in a possibility of fourth here against Miami in a few weeks are all primetime games. Is it possible, Mike? Is it possible that it is past Aaron Rodgers' bedtime when these games take place?
Sundowning, man. Sundowning.
I'm throwing it out there.
Hey, come on, man. You're in your 40s. You're closer to 50 than you are 30. You know how it is, man. Once that sun goes down.
Absolutely. I take 19 naps a day just to try to keep the energy.
I don't know who sleeps more, or you or the cat when I come over to the studio. Everyone's
right.
You and the cat are fucking.
That's how I keep my glow. Time. That's how I keep my wonderful personality.
That's something there, brother.
Cody says, good morning. Good morning to you, my friend Cody. How do you do, bro? John says, lacking mid and long ball accuracy. O-line is bipolar and is weak as a group. Sporadic conservative play calling. Howdy, gents. Somber, my man. What's up, dude? Great seeing Somber on the board, as always. Let's go right here. There we go. Cody says, Aaron Trubisky out here balling. A little bit of that Aaron Trubisky. John says, defensive indicators. One, needs splash plays or turnovers to be successful. Can't get off the field on third or fourth down. I have not seen anything that's been inaccurate yet. Follows it up by saying, number two, cannot cover the middle of the field. Old players who can't compete. Again, I don't know if that's anything that I could argue with either. Finally, John says this. He says, coaching indicators, late adjusting with players' abilities versus status. Yeah. I agree. There's a lot of truth to what you said. Feel the Steel. What's up, bro? Always great to see Feel the Steel. He says, good morning, what fans. Just got done sucking off TJ. Just a little extra flavor today from Tomlin shitting in the slit of TJ's bell end. Be back in a few going for round two. Can't get enough what juice. My man, enjoy.
Jesus Christ, Steel.
Cody says this. Cody says how the Chargers going to possess the ball 15 minutes longer than us that's a whole quarter of football. Our offense is garbage. Again, their offensive line, 36 of 36, their center. There's 36 centers. He's 36. The right tackle, there's 36 right tackles. He's 35. Their right guard, there's 37 right guards. He's 36. Left tackles, the most important position on offense. 38 people out there. He was 38. Again, we got some problems, guys. I mean, we can try to say this and that and keep them, but from top to bottom, there's a lot of issues on this team. We're going to try to get into a lot of them today, as it's midweek, and then we'll try to right the ship and get ready for Cincinnati as the week goes on. But right now, guys, it's kind of hard. I'm still recovering, I guess you could say. John says this. Number two, team bipolar weekly performance is more often coached before and after every game. Jen, what's up? Always great seeing Jen on the board. I just thought about Jen last night. Mike, we should have a special Jen day on the board, just because she's always been an OG and she's one of the old school originals. That's been a regular on the board. I think one of these days, Mike, while starting something new for the future, moving forward, maybe it would be nice to have a Jen day where we'll appreciate Jen one day right here on the show.
We should. I'm all for it.
John says, same predictable game plan on both sides of the ball for over a day. I mean, you're not lying. I mean, New England's saying this. This is what they did. This is what they faced when they played us. John says, scouting indicators, one, not drafting 2025 type players. Talent isn't enough. Need a brain for complex schemes. John also says, number two, scouts not held accountable for misses. Cody says, Mike's a Penn State fan. We all needed a good chuckle, Mike. So just relax. Somber says, John, it's going to be okay. Cody says, Somber, what's up, amigo? Somber says, what's up, Cody? Tortilla, my man. What's up, Tortilla Jackson, all the way from Cali, my man. He says this, I'm buying lottery tickets so when I win, I can pay Slay to stay home, please. By all means. Just take that free basket of money they leave in the back of the church. I always grab that when I'm on my way out the door. They've got the free basket right there. I think you can just take it. Also, Cody says this. He says, you know what time with the best bros? Richard, my man, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Richard on the board, guys. And I do have we have the winners. I'll get to in a minute of the CBS Pick'ems. A surprise winner. He's usually at the other end of the spectrum. He rose to the top, and it couldn't be any less controversial by something that happened last week. We'll get into that in just a moment. Phil the Steel Cock of what? I can't even read the whole name, Phil, because it gets cut off. Phil the Steel Cock of what is what I see in my maybe. He says, I wish TJ would marry me someday, but he said not until he gets a 45 sack season. I don't think it should be that hard. I have taken 45 sacks this season from him. Hey now. What is going on with this? I'm not quite sure. John says, owner indicators reinforces his satisfaction by overplaying certain players. Number 2, extends Tomlin's big contract cheap with all other staff and support network. Let me ask you this. Here's a question. Would you rather have a franchise quarterback or Mike Tomlin as your head coach as a Steeler fan? Would you rather have a franchise quarterback, your guy, or Mike Tomlin, a coach that never had a losing season? Throw it up on the board. Let me know your let me know your thoughts on that. I'm curious. Would you rather have a franchise quarterback on the Pittsburgh Steelers or continue to have this coach that has never lost? Just curious. John also says this. Number 3, satisfied with making money, not championships. Cody is getting more into Spanish, which is starting to confuse me on the board. Phil also says
Ryan barely knows English, guys.
Well, I know some Japanese, but I don't know any. I know Spanish, but for somebody that knows Spanish, it becomes a challenge because I don't know that much. Phil the Steel Cockwat says this. I prefer Richard Fitzwell. Somber says his story. John says a win won't move my needle at all. Cody says we have no answer for Jamar Chase. Doing finna have 145. Bro, they had 2 receivers with 100 plus. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not only just keeping Chase under wraps. And then let's just say we could stop T. And then you got that weird big red-headed guy that always lumbers around open in the middle of the field, or tight end. He catches everything. I'm just saying this is a very important game. Very, very important game. I don't know if we've ever had a successful season where we lost to the Bengals in 2 seasons. I don't have numbers in front of me, but it doesn't sound right. Anytime that we lost to them twice in a year doesn't seem like it could have been a successful year for us. It just doesn't. And 4 touchdowns, of course. Yinzer Joe, what's up, my brother? Always great seeing Yinzer Joe on the board. My man, he says, I think the Steelers know how. The Bungles want to win. They'll be better prepared and win. Tortilla says Mike Tomlin was on that island. I know that. Somber says, Ramsey had a say on the Samuel sign. Absolutely. I think these veterans, I think they have a lot of pull, to be honest with you, talking about Rodgers and Ramsey. I'm going to be honest. They are the leaders. They're the veterans, and they both are successful, greatly successful in the league. 4-time MVP. Ramsey, of course, one of the better players. I think that their opinions are highly involved in some of these moves. Mike?
Nah, we're good.
Okay. Somber says this. He says, Rams. Okay, got that. John says a playoff win with a team that will be completely different with many replacements next year means nothing to me. John says they will sign Kyler Murray for quarterback next year. I don't know. Let's hope that's not the case. You know what? 5 years ago, I'd have liked that. I would have said, bring Kyler Murray here. I would love to see him play in the black and gold, but I don't know. Tortilla says we're losing Brown and Chase. We'll both have big names, and we do nothing on offense. Tortilla says, no, we're gonna trade for a fifth for Geno. Hey, Geno is doing good in Seattle, right?
Oh God, no, he's doing terrible.
Maybe in the right system, under the right coaching, Mike, he could be a great quarterback.
I think Geno hit his expiration date in the league. I think he's well on the downside now.
Coming from a guy whose team has a 45-year-old quarterback, but anyway,
he's playing better than Geno.
Well, I mean, if Gino is again, listen, people do have a better situation in Pittsburgh than most places. They just do. Are we good? Are we doing all these great things? No, but for some reason, guys come here and they're able to win. All those players, except for Mitch Trubisky, between Ben and now, have winning records. So that tells you something. Let's go on here. Somber says this draft will end. Will be the end all be all for me with this ownership. It needs to be flawless. Quarterback has to work. Round 1, 4 players need to pan out. Cody says, I like having Ramsey at safety at first, but now all I can think of is us taking one of the players that makes tackles away from the action. And you want to hear another piece of information, guys? This let me find it. I don't know where I put it. I'll continue to look for it, but I do know that there's a point that I am trying to make here. Okay. Cody, let's see. All right, Cody says it's the Minka thing all over again. Richard says our position of need is mind-blowing because of our head coach is supposed to be unbelievable defensive back coach. I'm just wondering why our defensive backfield isn't any better. I mean, all the things point to it should be a pretty good backfield. I mean, the mind of the defensive coach and the head coach, and there's just a lot of things that just aren't adding up to me. And it's, again, very discouraging as we're moving forward. Cody says, stick your best interception guy away from the action to watch the CBs get smoked. Mark Malone, what's up, Mark? He says, we all need the untalented DBs on the field as soon as possible. This is as good as they'll ever be. Cody says, Joey Porter Jr. Couldn't catch water if he fell out of a ship in the ocean.
So for people who are saying, like, Mike Tomlin taints DBs, like, you go back, look through the team history under Tomlin, where they were in pass pro, like, they've had some, like, top 2, top 5, top 10 when he was the head coach. So that kind of disproves your
Where the hell they go? I wish we would have kept them.
And I'll just say, those Mike Tomlin tainting those secondaries. If he's,
why are our secondaries never?
How are they so good?
Why are our secondaries never above average?
They're just going to throw that out there. Just going to throw that out there.
Well, let me ask you this: why is our?
I just want to throw that.
Let me throw one out there too. Why is every one of our defensive secondaries never that good? It should at some point, by law of average, it should be better at some point.
Pull up the rankings,
Mike, we haven't won a playoff game in almost a decade.
Good ones. I'm just saying. I'm just saying
too. But they obviously weren't the success that we needed because, again, come on, the proof is in the pudding. I don't know if there's any more proof.
Putting it out there,
I absolutely, and so am I. Let's get back on the board here. Cody says, John says it isn't the players, it's an outdated management and coaching philosophy. They could have 25 picks next year. Or 24 if they would have went after somebody to try to improve what's actually going on now. But hey, Mark Malone says all those guys were good till the Tomlin taint set in. I thought so too. Richard, Steve, we had a bunch of them. Levi Wallace, a bunch of guys that were good elsewhere. They came here and shot the bed. It's like somebody said last week, they lost their powers from like Space Jam. They turned into those little tainted, powerless monsters. Richard says you can improve when your standard is just over 500 every year. John says, Mike, I think taking individual younger players into access who can be on the team for a few years isn't a bad idea right now. True Thong, what's up, dude? Love the name as always. Glad to see you back on the terrible board. True Thong says they'll probably beat the Bengals, but then they'll suck. They still might finish 9-8, but it's going to be rough. In my opinion, here's the numbers I was looking for, guys. We're talking about all this help that's coming from this young Asante Samuel. Guys, Asante Samuel has 35 missed tackles in his 3 1/4 seasons in the NFL. That's a missed tackle rate of 16.5. So if we're expecting any great defensive play to come from a guy that just got through spinal infusion surgery, I'm thinking this might be a crapshoot again, coming off a serious injury like that, what it does to you mentally. You never know. We're human. And again, his missed tackle rate is a very high number, actually, for his 3 1/4 seasons in the league. So, I don't know if this is going to be the second coming. I don't know if this is going to be able to turn the things around the way that we're hoping it does. But again, if it does, I'll sit here and I'll say it every day. I was wrong. As I did when I said Aaron Rodgers, I don't want him, but if he comes here, he's my quarterback. I said it over and over, and you know what? I don't change. I stick with my thoughts, and that's my thoughts, and I'm sticking with it. As trouble is happening now, I can't solely blame it on Rodgers. Again, there's a lot of different things in play here that you could point at that. Again, if you win, you sweep them under the rug, but when you lose, they really get hyper focused on, and you start realizing we have problems. So I don't think losses are always a bad thing. Sometimes they're good. You don't want to take too many of them. But this game, Mike, is probably the biggest game. And as I always say, this one we're facing, but is there any more that's bigger than the one that we're facing right now?
None whatsoever. That's the most important game of the year.
Because listen, if they lose this game, then you start to say all those things that I said. Now you lost to the Bengals twice. Now you have 2 losing streaks throughout the course of the season. Now the Ravens are more than likely tying us. The Bengals will be just, I think they'll be 1 game behind us. And again, nobody else from the AFC North beside a winner is going to get to the playoffs. You know this. I know this. Everybody in the, every football fan in the world knows this. So then you start to see that collapse. Generally, it happens later in the year for us. This year, for whatever reason, started in the middle, but it was once the team started being a little better. As I said at the beginning of the year, Mike, I said, let's get these wins when we can. Early season, stack them, take the wins when you can get them, because the next set of games are going to be tougher. We're going to lose some of them games. And people said, no. But we did. We lost 3 out of 4. Now we're going on to a new set, and then obviously then we finish it out. I would have liked to seen a little later to stay competitive a little longer, but if it is what it is, this week is important. If we want to stay in this thing, to be hanging by a string, beat this Bengals team, figure out how to beat them. You had a month. Hopefully they could do it. Hopefully they could do it, Mike. That's all I'm hoping. I mean, I don't want them to lose. I don't ever want them to lose. Again, I just, you see shit and you're like, that don't look right. And then it ends up not being right. Cody says, Tomlin, like I brought him in cause his resume so I don't have to teach them. Oh, I like him. I brought him in because I like his resume so I don't have to teach him what he says. Cody also follows it up by saying Bengals going to put up at least 48 on our defense, is going to be worn down from the offense going 3 and out every time they have the ball. Again, an extra set of hands, a nice weapon would have been a nice addition to this team last week, guys. I'm just saying, might have cost us a pick or a late, I don't know. Also, Cody does say this. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Somber says I ran like 40 mocks yesterday. If they're going to move up for quarterback, it'll most likely be with the Giants or the Dolphins. Giants want our 20th pick this year. This year's 3rd, and next year's 1st and 2nd. And again, Mike, we were right in the middle of the pack. I looked to see where this team is as far as their rankings, just to kind of get an idea of where we're at in the pack. Smack dab in the fucking middle. You wouldn't believe it. 15 and 16 was the 2 numbers, which are exactly halfway. Again, this team is managing to have the most average kind of season. Again, really good games sometimes, really bad games sometimes, really average. Everything averages out with this team anymore. And this team, this season is following suit, Mike.
It is too. It's just an average team, and these are the kind of performances you get when you're an average team. It's you're going to be up and down. One game you're going to look, like you can compete with the best team in the NFL, and the next year you're looking like you're going to struggle with someone else at your level that you probably should have beat. And that's what we're going to get out of this team, unfortunately.
A couple things here. We started 4-1, feeling pretty good. We are 5-4 with the opportunity to drop to 5-5. So again, look at the ebbs and flows as Aaron Rodgers says. There is ups, there is downs, but where are the ebbs and flows leading this year, Mike? There certainly seems to be a lot more downs as of late. Listen, if you could come out in these last 7 games and run the table, that'd be fantastic. Absolutely will be fantastic. But again, I don't know if we're able to do that. Let me see. Let's get back on the board.
Let's do it.
I'm going to go right about here. Summer says Miami wants our 20th pick, a 3rd and 4th in next year's 2nd and 3rd. John says Rodgers is fading faster than an Earl Scheib painting in Vegas. Not very cultured. You might have to lead me into that one, Mike. What is this?
I don't know. It just sounded like
so you laughed at that and said, you know what? It's going to at least look like I know what I'm talking about.
It made me laugh.
Oh, hey, wait, hold on, Mike. Let's try this again. Rodgers is fading faster than an Earl Scheib painting in Las Vegas.
Good one.
Oh,
You just gotta laugh and move on
motherfucker.
and hide your ignorance, bro. Hide your ignorance, laugh and move on. Because we ain't cultured. You just gotta act like it, brother. I got you, fam.
we're the sons of steel workers. We're not the brightest guys out here. Cody says we are 14% on third down. What the fuck? How's it? Dude, it's real bad. It's real bad. It's real bad. How do you get so bad? We had 2 converted third downs Sunday night. 2. I thought we were supposed to start looking
I'm no expert. I'm no expert at that, but I don't think that's going to be conducive to a winning team.
I you know what? For once, I agree. I think we
you
could
can't agree with me. You're fucking up the show, Ryan.
Truth Long says this: if guys are signed or traded for, means that other teams didn't want to. Hey, exactly. This Sunday, Samuel did see 3 or 4 other teams before we got to talk to him. I wonder what the purpose. Well, maybe they'll point and laugh at us when it comes.
Hey, Jerome Bettis was traded.
Yeah, he sure was. And you always told me about the outliers. I think he could certainly be one of those outliers. Somber says 4 out of 10 mocks. Ty Simpson falls to us. Who did I see? I looked at a mock this morning and it had us taking some wide receiver from Arizona State, maybe. I don't know. I never even heard of the guy. Let's see, Mark Malone. We didn't make any huge investments in these guys, though. I mean, that's what we're happy doing. Just kind of keep, What about the huge investments we did make? What about the highest paid defense in the league? That's kind of a huge investment, right? Cody says DK Metcalf is worse than George Pickens. At least Pickens could catch the ball. Cody says we actually went backwards with DK. John says they have a 0.8% chance to win the Super Bowl. Vegas agrees with Ryan. Somber says DK is a high-end number 2. John says just draft the dude. Wide receiver class is fairly deep. You know what I mean? We're going into our 3rd draft without this position. Please draft a wide receiver, please. I don't think that's too much to ask.
It's too much. No, we're not getting one.
We have to pay the highest paid coach in the league, so we can't get these guys their money. I don't know. I don't know what they get paid. I'm just saying. Just teasing, Mike. I don't want you to get all. I don't want you to get all your feathers ruffled here.
I'm over here vibing, bro.
Here we go. John says this will be a big blow up fight today. Cody says no. DK is a mediocre number 2 at best. Somber says just drafted dude Wildcraft. Okay, did get that one at least into the 4th round, talking about how deep the wide receiver class is. Mark says touchdowns. Cody says we don't draft wide receivers, or at least good ones. Name the last elite wide receiver we have drafted: AB, Juju. Somber says we'll have to take a high cornerback if we take one. Class isn't great. What's up, dude? Great seeing Jamal on the board. Gang in this bitch. No, you're good, dude. I know you're working and you're always busy, dude. Somber saying GP. John says over under. How many minutes before Mike says fuck it and unplugs and makes Ryan go solo? I started at 11:30. Well, we're 19 minutes past.
I won. I didn't do it.
Cody says Mike Tomlin, not for life at Jamal. Somber says Steelers have never had an issue finding receivers. Cody, we were building a defensive team in an offensive ran league. Everything the NFL has done for our offense, including the kickoff rule, has done is for the okay. Cody says no helmet to helmet, so wide receivers and running backs can run over defensive people. Or Jaylen Warren jumping over a dude, man.
Right?
What is there not to like about Jaylen Warren?
Way.
What is there not to like about that guy?
He's a beast.
No touching quarterbacks, Cody mentions. Jamal says never had an issue finding receivers till now. That's GP karma. 007, what's up, bro? Great seeing 007 on the board. He says, is it possible that Rodgers just had a... It is. Absolutely.
But can he, in the rest of the offense, turn around next week? That's going to be the key.
Let me ask you again, guys, on the board. One more time. Throw your answers up on the board. Would you rather have a franchise quarterback? Or would you rather have Mike Tomlin continuing to be our coach? Simple answer, one or the other, 50-50. Would you rather have a franchise quarterback on this team, our guy, or would you continue to like to still keep our head coach? That's just a simple question. Let's continue on the board, Mike. I don't want to miss anybody today. No touching the quarterbacks, Cody says. Okay, we got that all the way up there. John says 6 consecutive night game primetime losses dating back to last season. Other fans should punk out Steeler fans. And do you see something else weird? How 4 of those games this past weekend were all similar scores. 2 were 10-7, and the other 2 were 42-22 or whatever. It was like the first time in history that ever happened.
Yeah,
with those scores.
Rigged. #rigged.
Cody says, Jamal, you're about Roger's age. What time is bedtime? Jamal says 9 o'clock sharp, baby. Also, he says, damn, you really watched long enough to see Roman score. Fuck that torture. And you know what? I was wondering, I came over the other day to talk and hang out with you and everything, Jamal, but you were having trouble. You were literally on for like 4 minutes or something. And then you had issues with your system. But I was there. I ended up liking it and all that. I was going to hang out. But again, I think you popped up like 3 or 4 different times trying, and it was just having some kind of issue. But I did come over to see you, my man. Let me know when that gets up and running. John says all those L's were ugly too. Somber says retired Navy. Shout out to all the veterans. Active, reserve, retired. Salutes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody. RB, what's up, my man? He says, Ryan, absolutely pissed. We didn't trade for any old-ass bum at wide receiver deadline. Wanted to take a look at washed-ass Tyler Boyd. Also, Ryan signed a quality 25-year-old. This is pathetic. Hey, man, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. So
RB, you know this is what I deal with on a daily basis.
Well, listen, the fact that we have no wide receivers and the fact that we have 33 defensive backs is, yes, I do find a way to justify that, in all honesty. But we don't have any. Listen, look at your list of wide receivers and look at your list of DBs and tell me why I just might think that way. Cody says this. Cody says, is that before or after the warm glass of milk? TMI Vegas says. Cody says you know what the plate on the West Coast, the time was 3 hours behind. Pittsburgh time, no excuses for old ass Rogers. That's right. It shouldn't have been bedtime. It should have been plenty early. They could have still went out and got that. What do they call that, Mike? With the old people eat free for dinner.
Oh, isn't it the early bird special?
The early bird. He could have even got the early bird if he wanted to out west.
Yeah.
Somebody said, I swear some of you act like brand new Steeler fans, act like you know what pain is, right? But you know what? This is as painful as anything that I've gone through as a Steeler fan. 9 years, guys. I've never went that period. As a matter of fact, not only me, but this team has never went that period of time without winning a playoff game since the Super Bowl era started. So, I mean, it's painful, man. It's painful. Let's see. Phil says, Jen, boom! Yinzers Joe says, I'd like to add that Wilson had those stats in 11 games. Ryan Rodgers had, absolutely. Rodgers has it done in a bit quicker, and I will make a point to bring them up in a couple more games. This is only the numbers that I had to this point, but it's in my notes. So once they do get caught up, I will follow up with that. I apologize. Jen says, thanks, guys. What's up, Phil? Always great seeing Phil. Vegas says, I do want to say what's up to my man Vegas and my best men in black locker creature voice. All hell, Jen. All hell, Jen. All hell, Jen. John says they must give Rodgers tapioca pudding at halftime plus a sleeping mat on the sideline for very long naps after 3 and outs.
You know what? That sounds comfy. Can you sign me up too?
All right, I'm getting to the Mike. I'm getting to where people were answering about the question here. The question was, would you rather have your franchise quarterback or Mike Tomlin to continue to be your head coach for your Pittsburgh Steelers? Tortilla says franchise quarterback, no question. Mark Malone says, good God, I'd rather have an enema than have Tomlin as a head coach. Orb says, I would rather have a special needs scout quarterback than Mike Tomlin. Vegas says, I'll take quarterback at this point. Somber says, it depends if coaching replacing him can develop a quarterback. John says quarterbacks, they're hard to find. Vegas says enemas can be addicting. Tortilla.
How do you know, Vegas?
Vegas loves the enema. Tortilla says at this point, we have a developing quarterback. Yes, guys, and our developing quarterback just did get put on the active roster. He got activated to the active roster. Let me get through a couple more messages, Mike, and I will get into some of the scoop that was given as far as positions, spots, all this stuff from Coach T yesterday. Let me see. We are right here. Well, Yinzer Joe says, I would like a franchise quarterback, but I think a lot of players on the team would be gone without Tomlin there, like the players that aren't getting it done. Might not be the worst thing ever. The vets really need really respect the man and run through walls. You know what? I mean, as a person, I do too. I love him, and you know what? If we were in a fight together somewhere, I would have his back, and you know, I'm sure he's an awesome dude. But this team is just it's on a decline, guys, and something needs to be figured out. If it's not him, then he needs to figure out what it is within the problem. So, you know, he's very much a part of this. Phil says, yeah.
I was going to say, I'm taking a franchise quarterback all day, every day.
Me too.
I don't care who the coach is. I'm taking a franchise quarterback all day, every day. Because you figure most of the true franchise quarterback will find a way to win no matter who the coach is.
Phil still says, super ass question, asking of still want Teflon Don. Come on, Ryan. 2 dumb answers is better than a stupid question like that. You know what? All my questions are stupid because I have it in I document it right here. So anything that comes out of my mouth stupid, it is covered right here.
Right here.
You know, the Steeler Nation wants Teflon Don gone. Mike T for life. Jamal is saying Gino is good on Madden. If you would lower the level, put it on rookie. Shit, you could light it up. Somber said not seeing Ramsey is a good thing if he plays safety. So is Will Howard. Jamal, I'm sorry, Tortilla says that. Phil still says prediction for Sunday. YPU no. Oh, you know, Steelers 2, Bungles 3, just another game. 100 Teflon Dawn. Into Joe says, what's wrong with moving Peppers at safety with Duggar and putting Ramsey in a slot? I just think that because he got burnt so much last time, I don't know if they even want him playing any direct coverage.
No, I think his corner days are over unless there's like another injury that pops up and he has to go down there. I think they really like him and Duggar, and will eventually like him and oh my god, who's our guy? Who's the safety we love? I'm totally blanking on his name.
Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah, Deshaun Elliott. I think eventually they're going to want Elliott and Jalen Ramsey as their number one safeties.
All right, guys, this is some of the scoop from the press conference yesterday from Mike Tomlin. Guys, Darius Slay is in NFL concussion protocol. His status will be determined by the protocol's progression. Scotty Miller has been cleared to return from his finger injury and is expected to practice. Corey Trice and rookie quarterback Will Howard. 21 IR activation days closed today. Tomorrow, I guess, would be. We have a decision to make, and when and what we want to do, we'll let you guys know, is what he said yesterday. So as of right now, yes, I do know that Will Howard has been activated off of the IR, Mike. As far as Corey Trice, I don't know. I'm still getting to that if it is even on here. Tomlin says also he's optimistic about the returns of Isaac Seumalo, who's out with his pec, linebacker Cole Holcomb, who's been out with an illness, and Jabril Peppers, who has also he's been out with a quad. They'll be all working out this week at practice on limited terms. Coach Tomlin also says on Juan Valdez-Scantling's potential role this week, we will see what the week holds for him and all of the others on the practice squad. He's not rolling MVS out for this week. Tomlin said the team is preparing as the Bengals star defensive end Trey Hendrickson is going to play, despite reports that he is doubtful for Sunday. What else did Coach say? I think they brought up why is Jalen Warren's snap count going down. He says getting Jalen Warren more touches. We win more third downs. We will get Jalen more touches. It's as simple as that. So again, you're not getting first downs. You're not getting first and second. If you're not converting on third downs, you're not getting many first and second downs to get him more options, I guess. And let's see on Aaron Rodgers' recent struggles. Tomlin says this: I am not going to chalk it up to an off night, but I have no long-term concerns. He's not going to chalk it up as a off night, but he still is going to have no long-term concerns. Also, Mike, Trey Sermon was waived from the active roster. Of course, the running back, Derek Forrest, he was released from the practice squad. He was the DB. Asante Samuels, of course, signed to the practice squad. And as I did say earlier, Mike, Will Howard is being
Will
elevated
Howard.
to the practice squad as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, there's also talks too. I saw that there might be another move to where Trey Sermon comes back onto the practice squad.
It seems like everybody that's on the roster is just
Yeah,
they're coming, they're
it's going to be
going, they're
nebulous.
moving pieces around to make other things happen, and that's
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, and then Corey Trice Jr. is still on the IR slash able to return list, but I don't know if he's going to come back. If he got hurt again in his 21-day practice window, he might stay on the IR list. And I think maybe the signing of Asante Samuels was in anticipation of not getting Corey Trice back as well.
Here's one for you guys. Steelers are on pace to have a negative scoring differential and a winning record for the fourth time in 5 years. If this team continues its path that it is and finishes 500 or better as it usually does, this will be the fourth time in 5 years if things continue to go the way that it is, because we did drop in this loss as far as point differential, Mike. We were up by a couple. Now we're down by about 18 or so, give or take. Steelers are on pace to have a negative scoring differential and a winning record for the fourth time in 5 years. Just another thing going on here in Pittsburgh. Nothing to see here, everybody. Just keep moving along. We're winning, and we're not having losing seasons, and we're happy, apparently. So if that number doesn't excite you, maybe nothing will. Also, Mike, I did forget one other guy as well, Sebastian Castro. We did pluck him back from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as we released. Who did we release, Mike? We released Juan Thornhill.
Thornhill.
Now, Juan Thornhill was Super Bowl winner in Kansas City. We talked about this guy all preseason. This guy's going to be good in the secondary with all these other good names. How can it be bad? Juan Thornhill says this is going to be the greatest, the most historic defense possibly ever. And he goes on, Juan Thornhill out. Sebastian Castro in. We claimed him from the waivers of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He will wear number 22 moving forward, changing his number as he comes back. Mike, he is on the practice squad.
Yeah. We end up getting the Cleveland Browns Juan Thornhill. We did not get the good Juan Thornhill. we said, hey man, if we can get the Kansas City Juan Thornhill, we might have something here.
The Kansas City coaching would have been nice with the Juan Thornhill. It seems like we got Juan Thornhill from Cleveland with Cleveland coaching, is what I see.
Yeah. Like he was a complete disaster.
Also, Mike, another word that Tomlin did have, he's about MVS. I'm sorry, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Mike Tomlin did say he is open to elevating him from the practice squad this week. Again, just depending on how he practices. If he looks like Duggar out there, he's willing to go with it. If he's still not too excited about what he sees, probably not. But as of right now, Mike, he is not closing the door for MVS for this weekend.
Like, I have a feeling we are going to see MVS. I just have that feeling.
You think that
we're going to see him play? Yeah, I think he's playing.
And finally, Mike, we also worked out cornerback CJ Henderson yesterday. CJ Henderson was in town working out.
We had him last year.
I know. Why don't we go get Dante Jackson? He did something good. Let's go grab them all. Maybe we can have all tight ends and DBs. But yes, CJ Henderson, he was there yesterday working out as the depth. They're continuing to try to keep the depth strong in the secondary, of course, with Slay's injury moving forward, Mike.
I wonder if that was just in case they didn't sign Asante Samuel.
Why not? More the merrier. It seems like that's the theme here.
I think it was like if the Samuel signing didn't go through, okay, we're gonna get Henderson just in case Slay can't play and we got to move people around.
Hey, keep bringing them in. It'd be like the Ark. Just grab two of everybody and we'll fill it up. And
eventually someone's going to hit.
Exactly. And you see what I'm saying? I was just saying that you don't see this. This is not normal. Is all I was saying. I wasn't being combative. I was in the sense just saying, if I seen another team doing this, it would be comical. Like, wow, look at them fuck nuts. What they had every single big name DB in the league. They have every single big name quarterback that's ever came out of college, and they still are terrible at quarterback. You know what I'm saying? It's somewhat comparable. That's all. It just doesn't seem very. It doesn't seem very confident right now in the organization. Let's get back on the board, Mike. Nothing makes me feel better than the terrible board every day. I'm going to start right about somewhere. No, I'm all the way back where enemas could be addicting.
I want to hear more about that.
Let's see. John says this. John says, okay, I do believe I know we're right here with John. He says Arthur Smith and Terrell Austin aren't the Super Bowl support team Tomlin needs. He must acknowledge that and take on an innovative staff and let them do their thing. Why does everything seem so elementary with us? Why?
Maybe we had that when Dan Rooney was the owner. When Art took over, it became money. Who became be cheaper, him or Bob Nutting? They don't like to spend.
I don't think that we have $165 million put out to a defense. We're spending money, man. Nobody else is paying that much out. I just don't see that. I don't see that.
Like, we're paying out because you got to spend on the salary cap, but for coaches, there is no cap, man. You can spend as much or as little as you want, and if you want to be cheap, that's the only place you can be cheap is in your coaches.
Oh, and then also, yeah.
And that's one place you shouldn't be cheap with your coaches or your players, man. You gotta spend the money to win.
The GM. I mean, this is actually the GM's job. He's to sit there and figure out how could we balance this thing out. And I do know that our GM and our head coach work together very close. So again, I think there's a lot of people at fault what's going on. Tortilla says it makes too much sense at Yinzer. That's why. Mark Malone says, please. Vegas says, how long ago was that? Mark Malone says -1 or 2. I apologize. I don't remember what that was. Phil still says Nolan Cowher made players look good. Players make Teflon Don look good. Cody says, is it possible that our offense has been so bad for so long that it makes our defense look like shit? They're rubbing off on them. John says Ramsey can't match up with stud wide receivers. His age shows safety is better for him now. And you know what? It's crazy enough for us to even think that it was going to be okay, right? I mean, these kids are coming in 22 years old, 23 years old. Jamar Chase. I mean, you need the youngest, sharpest, quickest that's out there. I would think. Vegas says 83.5 ain't bad, right? Just depends which way it's going. Jamal says, did Ryan hit my weed or something?
He may have, Jamal. He may have.
Tortilla says
he's so not bad sharing.
That we make we're so bad that we make one good play and we're like, hell yeah, remember that play? That was good. That was cool. Cody also says this. Cody says maybe the 2005 and 2020 defenses were so good because they actually got to take a break while the offense was on the field. Well, the Killer Bee defense sucked, but at least they got to take breaks. Jamal says to me, he says, Cody, your analogies suck. But these two, they go back and forth, so it doesn't surprise me.
Great, those two.
Tortilla says we're like the Bears, but potty trained. Jamal says if you can't catch a cold, bro. These two. Let's see. Phil still says it happened last season. Steeler Nation got on the moonball wagon, then the moonball choked in the end. It is going to happen again with Rodgers. Cody says, I live in Texas. We don't have winter. Jamal says, fuck no, we don't. Jamal also says it gets cold sometimes though. Yeah, you have to give us some of your heat sometimes too, man. It's
yeah, that's some fucked up shit. You keep that heat down south.
You know what? I don't mind the warm. It's just when the heat shows its ugly face. Vegas says Steelers will start the 27-28 season with a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, with Omar's job on the line to produce something, or he will be gone next. Field of Steel says, oh, yeah, at Jamal. You know what? Was Jamal the biggest? We got to get into that. I'm going to get into that shortly here. The CBS Pick'em results. I know Derpy was the winner, but I didn't really look too much into everybody else, so I will do that. And if I'm going to take Phil's word if he's saying that Jamal was the loser. But I don't know. Sure.
He's all over that, so I'm going to.
That's the only reason I'm going. Yeah, because he's usually on top.
I'm trusting him because he's always on top of that. Because I think he's waiting for me to be the biggest loser one day.
Yeah. I'm sure. Jamal says it's 75 here. I think, what is it? Probably about 50, maybe 40s.
It is too fucking cold here. It's 46 degrees.
46 degrees at 1:10 p.m.
It was like 35 at work today. It sucked ass.
Jamal says I lost. I didn't know either, dude. I'm about to get into it here shortly. Cody says it's 98. 98. Wow. Where he is in Texas.
They can keep that. That's a bit much.
What are we? 44.
Yeah, we're 46. I'll take the 46 over the 98. Fuck that.
Listen, I don't like when it gets too cold either, but geez, oh man, 98. 98. I don't even know if it's got 98 here in the past couple years. John says the blueprint is out now. Pressure Rodgers without blitzing, so he can't use his brain to win in the play and must rely on the offensive line protection and receiver separation while doubling coverage, while double coveraging DK high and low. Isn't that crazy? So do you think the offensive line's improving, Mike, or is it not? Or was it just part of a roller coaster? Maybe it was down last week, and maybe it'll be up next week. What do you truly feel about this offensive line? Improving, not improving, or just in the process of the season up and downs? Is this where do you feel? Where do you realistically, in your heart, feel that this group of 5 gentlemen are right now?
I think they're improving. Like I said, they did really well. Run blocking, pass blocking was not their best game. Really was not. Like Roger Jones fell back into bad habits, and I think Fatano had his like welcome to the NFL moment. Where he's consistently going up against a guy who might have been that game just playing a little bit better than he was, and he struggled with it. But apart from that, I think they are improving. They got to get better, obviously, but I think they are improving. These games happen sometimes, and hopefully, against the Bengals, they can right the ship. Now, if they don't, okay, I'm wrong, and they are falling back into bad habits the way they kind of did at the tail end of last year. But I think one thing that can help that O-line and help that passing game, keep handing the ball to number 30. Just keep handing it to number 30 until the other team can't stop it.
He's the only guy, Mike.
Jumbo until the other team can stop it.
Jaylen Warren is literally the only guy that has been consistent on the offense.
Yeah.
Come on. From the line to the wide receivers to wide receiver 1 to the quarterback. There's nobody been more consistent. Every time the guy touches the ball, it's a gain. He's either jumps over you, runs through you, goes between your legs. Whatever the guy got to do, he gets it done. And he gets it done. And again, I have nothing bad to say about Jaylen Warren. As a matter of fact, I'm glad that he's our number 1 running back. I was a Najee guy, but it is what it is. And there's no complaints from me about that guy. The way he can catch the ball, he can make plays. He's a possibility for a big play every time he touches it. He just runs so hard. He's fast, Mike. And again, we said last week he was voted the toughest guy in the NFL to bring down. I'll take that guy as a Steeler fan any day of the week. But you're right. If the rest of the team could play consistent, they could keep up with his consistency, Mike. We'd be a pretty damn good football team.
Oh, hell yeah. He brings it day in and day out. As a football fan, as a football coach, hell, as like a boss at a job, you want someone like that who just punches in, punches out, and goes about the day. Like, what do you need? What's my job? All right, that's what you want me to do today, coach. I'm gonna go fucking do it. That's the guy you want. You dream to have a guy like that on your team. And there's not a lot of guys that are like that, man. He's not only good at football, but he loves football.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot too. In like pro sports, you can see the guys who are just good at the sport and we're told to go play it because that's going to be your way out or your way to make money. And you can see the guys who love it and work their way to get there.
That's Robert Foster. He graduated from my high school. He went to the same place that Jordan Whitehead did. And he was a wide receiver. He went to Alabama. Ended up being a bust. He played for a while with Buffalo, had a couple big plays. But Mike, I was talking to his dad one day. His dad from down in Midland, and we were talking, and he says, you know what? I said, you know what? That's really awesome for Robert. He says, you know what? He doesn't love football. He said he's really good at it. He's better than everybody else out on the field. He just does not love the game. And as I watched him and Jordan, their career play out, you started to see which guy loved football and which guy didn't love football. They had very similar paths. Jordan, he ended up going to Division I. He went to Pitt. Of course, Foster goes down to Alabama. They both go to the pros. Jordan Whitehead does amazing things. He was on a Super Bowl winning team with Tom Brady. His numbers are always up. A hell of an attacker back there at safety. Robert Foster, again, all the abilities, Mike, the speed, the length, the everything. He just didn't have it. He didn't love football. And you've seen that, unfortunately, how his career played out.
Yeah, just because you have a talent for something doesn't mean you love doing it. That's what you want to do. Like I know people who are very musically inclined, and they don't want to make music. It's
Yeah,
like no, it's like I know how, but it doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't bring
right.
me passion or anything. So like I get it when I see guys like that, but it's like oh man, dude, if you just put like 10% of effort into it, man, how good could you be?
Yeah. Let's get back on the board. I do want to ask guys real quick. I asked the other question about the franchise quarterback of the coach. After last week, we jumped past the trade deadline. We went into the game this past week, and of course the Chargers. So we didn't make a move at the trade deadline, and we didn't win the football game. So those 6 days, guys, do you feel that we missed out? Do you feel that we missed out by not making any kind of move? Of course, MVS, but that doesn't really count. Do you feel that we could have did something better? Do you feel that we could have done something that could have helped this team out right now to make the situation better than what we have? And it's so weird because I started to think to myself, well, no, because we have this, we have that, but then the yin doesn't yang, like we said, Mike. The yang doesn't yang, and then I have to look everywhere. And I'm like, well, shit, we have a lot more fucking problems than I thought that we had. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Again, Mike, I don't know if making a move at the trade deadline fixes anything. Does the move at the trade deadline get us in the Super Bowl? Hell no. Does the trade trade at the deadline get you an extra set of hands to maybe have a guy open as the 5'3" Calvin Austin can't continue to he got to create separation. It's hard when you're little when the guy across from you is big, and and that even goes with the other guys as well. So, do you think
like
do we even drop the ball by not making any moves last week at the trade deadline? It would have been that important to you? If we made a move, would it have? It would have been nice to have the guy, but it wouldn't have been important. Let me know on the board. Where do you stand? Do you feel that we dropped the ball by not pursuing more at the deadline? Because Mike, it was said that went down to the last minute. There was works. We were talking to the Dolphins. We were talking about Waddle. We were talking. These things were all happening. We just didn't pull the trigger because we didn't like what we've seen. Do you feel that we dropped the ball, or it just is what it is?
I don't because this team is obviously not a Super Bowl contender, and I was on record like if this team was and they thought that they were a Super Bowl contender, you go ahead, you mortgage your future because you're going to win now. Like I said, like the example I brought up was the 2016, 2017 Penguins. They knew that this team was ready to go on a run. They were giving up prospects. They were giving up first round draft picks to go out and get guys in to round out that roster to win. This team, like you said, Ryan, there's holes. This team was not ready. We even talked about during the offseason. Like my ceiling for this team was first round playoffs, win or lose. That's where they're going to be potentially winning a game, and I'm lowering that. I still have that expectation. That was my preseason expectation, but the reality setting in, this team might not even make the playoffs. So you don't go and overspend to get a guy to potentially win the division and potentially lose in the first round. I don't think you sell out the future for the short-term gain unless that short-term gain is going to be a deep championship type style run, and this team was far from it. So in that sense, I don't think they dropped the ball. I think they're actually smart by not going out and trying to add one guy who's not going to be here in 4 months.
All right, there you go. Let's get back on the board here, guys. Richard
Oh,
says,
real quick.
Yeah.
If we were like saying like 7-2 and we didn't go get someone, then I would be like, no, we did drop the ball because you're sitting at 7-2. You're ready to make a run. You got to go.
We were 5-3. That's at that point, that's
yeah,
still,
but it wasn't a pretty 5-3.
Yeah.
It wasn't a.
I remember we were 10-0 or 13-0. Let's get back on the board, everybody. Richard says, giving the Ravens and Bengals any hope at all just kills me. The Sunday should win this Sunday. Steelers should win this Sunday. I hope you're right, brother. Vegas says 64 and cloudy there. 64 and cloudy in Vegas. Field of Steel says always sunny in Texas, especially in the 9:15 Sun City. Mark says mid 60s out in Missouri. Tortilla 56 in Cali right now. Near Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken. Cody says need the cold wind to come back. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Jamal says
That's too damn bad.
Jamal says no way at Cody 98. I believe it. Somber saying 75. I believe that's out in Cali as well, right, Somber? Also, Sunny SoCal. There it is. SoCal. Gotcha. Vegas says one stop on D from 5-1. Tortilla says it's cloudy where I'm at right now, kind of like Mike Tomlin's brain. Cody says nothing like wearing long sleeves for shirts and pants with boots on 102 weather. That's right, man. You're out them fields, man, huh?
Ugh.
Mark Malone says cheap car paint job. Jamal says, yeah, 75 here too at Somber. I don't know what Cody was talking about. That's all that Bug of Sugar got him thinking. It's 98. 98 in Midland, Cody's saying. Also, a true thong says Earl Scheib, car repainting. Okay, gotcha. Vegas says maybe there's a team that loves Tomlin so much they will see. This is kind of the conversation Mike and I had the other day. We were talking about that. I said, look at all these people that want to make all these conversations about making a trade. Let's trade Tomlin to the Giants. And Mike says to me, he says, well, that's like giving somebody, all your broke piece in return for good pieces. We want something good for return. But my thought on that is this: everyone else is still fooled into thinking he's doing great things. If we could play somebody and say, hey, this guy hasn't had a losing season in 20 years. Come on, give us your number. There might be somebody out there that would do it. Maybe before the rest of the league starts to realize that what's actually going on. Maybe try to make the move. I don't know. But I've never been involved. I've never seen the coach trade go down, Mike, to where there was players and picks involved. So I'm not even sure of how that plays out, to be honest with you.
Well, it'd be a non-starter because Mike Tomlin, I believe, has a no trade clause, unless he'd be willing to waive it. And I know a lot of people are saying that the Giants, because of the Rooney's and Mara's connection, like they're just gonna. Well, how does that Mike?
Well, let's just
Tomlin want to go there.
Listen, I just use the Giants as an example. I'm talking about any team. If there's any team that was interested, I still don't know how that plays out.
It's you more or less. You're just trading picks at that point. You're putting the coach up, and you're getting picks back. No, shit. If you do it, go ahead, and if you're ready to move on, you go ahead and do it. But I think if it get to that point, it's gonna be like, oh, we've mutually decided to part ways from each other. I think that's how that shit would go down. But hell, man, and people want to say like the Giants. I don't think the Giants have a first round pick this year, so why make that trade?
And again, I'm talking 31 other teams. I'm not specifically talking about the Giants. I just know that was brought up in articles. Yeah. So that's
if you can do it, do it.
So that's the example that I use. But anybody, for that matter, if we could get something good, I at this point.
But I think it's a non-starter because I believe he has a no trade clause, and I just don't see Rooney doing it. I think Rooney would be like, hey, you're going to resign.
There's no way Rooney's going to do it. Rooney hasn't even shown any thoughts and interest of it possibly even being a possibility. He made one comment earlier this year, about 3 weeks ago, about not being satisfied with Tomlin's job. Keep in mind, we haven't won a playoff game in 9 years. So if he's making one comment now about him not being happy about what's being done, it's not going to happen. It's not. Let's see. Jamal says we're about to score 50 this week, dude. A 50-point win would certainly fix a lot of things for me. Again, this is a game that we lose. We're hanging on. We're hanging on by a thread at this point. And one thing that also about that Arthur Smith offense, if he would have brought some Derrick Henry with him, maybe we could still talk about how great that Tennessee thing was. Because literally that was what he turned. What was that quarterback? He turned into a Tannehill. He turned Tannehill into a winner. And, other things were happening. And again, you have a Derrick Henry. That certainly goes a long way. But let's continue on. Feel the Still says, stop it. 90 and defense lost the game. Don't talk about the great O. Tortilla says, Vegas, not even the Sacramento Kings make that trade. Cody says, Jamal, how many is Cincinnati score? Yeah, if we score 50, I'm sure they'll have 52. Vegas says, I don't think the bus got enough credit for how shifty he is. Damn right, dude. He had the shiftiest feet for a big guy I've ever seen. He was a
shifty back.
I remember seeing him back in Notre Dame. Just shifty as hell. And I thought, this guy's going to be a monster in the NFL, whoever gets him. And he goes to the Rams, and I thought, all right, whatever. Then he ends up on our squad. It was unbelievable.
Dude, man, he had wiggle for a big guy.
Damn straight. Jamal says, I blame Rodgers. And I do. Listen, I blame about 93% of this team right now. There's not many people that's getting out of my complaints.
I blame TJ Watt.
Well, I believe it. I blame anybody that's not getting this shit done. John says, only naive, wishful Steeler fans thought that they were contenders. Vegas and money knew all along. Jamal says 50-36 Steelers. Somber says Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson was the name. Yes, that was the wide receiver at Arizona State that popped up in that mock draft.
Yes, yeah.
And I wasn't familiar with him, so again, I just kind of put it down as I glanced over what we were getting, and that had us at about 20. It had us at about 24, I think. I thought that's pretty far down there.
Because like right now, we're sitting at pick 20, I believe, where we always pick.
Yeah. Let me see if I can't find where I went away too fast. There we go. Field of Steel says at Jamal, if Steelers offense scored 50 on Cincy, I'll freaking run a lap naked in my block and I'll send two W's. I wish, in a way, I wish that you wouldn't, but you know what? It could be great for the show.
We don't need to see that. Hey man, we trust you, bro.
By all means, do it. I say do it. I would rather, yes, have it up here. We'll put it up on the board. It'll be great.
I mean, it can't be any worse than.
But Jamal says, please don't. He says, please don't. Vegas says Tortilla, LOL, right, and the dude who traded Luca got fired, so that's one less bozo around. Tortilla says, whoever we draft is going to turn into a crackhead, right? It's destiny. The Steelers' wide receiver will be the literal Antichrist, no doubt.
You're not wrong.
Hey.
But it will be fun and entertaining to watch them crash out.
Jamal says he says they did Nico so bad, bro. I'm sure he didn't want to trade Luca. That's some Hollywood shit. Vegas says Vanilla Thunder covets his feathered boas like his uncle Jesse Ventura. John says type in Earl Scheib car painting using YouTube. All right, we'll check that out, John. Also, let's see right here. There we go. Vegas is 1.9% chance to win the NBA lottery, and bam, they won it. Nothing fishy about that. Truth Long says, do you think Omar has done a good job? I think he's overrated, especially drafting. You know what? That's a great question, Truth. That's a really good question. As a matter of fact, I love his aggressiveness. That I like. To see the fruit of what he is producing, it takes a couple years. But as of right now, it's not looking good. You got to look into a couple different things, I guess. How is the development? How is everything? Specialty coaches, everything. But as of right now, I like his style. I like the fact that he doesn't hesitate to pull the trigger. That's something that we haven't had here in Pittsburgh. So I like that change of pace. But again, until if we're going to continue to go the wrong direction in the standings and record wise. And everything else, I would have to say it hasn't been successful because we replaced half of the players from our 10-7 team, 50%, 11-22 from our 10-7 team from last year. With that, all those players being replaced in the draft, we could certainly be potentially not as good as 10-7 this year, and that's kind of the way I'm leaning. Go ahead, Mike.
Just looking at his Broderick Jones, he's been a serviceable left tackle this year. Porter's been serviceable. Benton's coming on strong recently. Darnell Washington, Nick Herbig. Not a bad first 5 draft picks. Then Fatanu, Frazier have been playing lights out. Peyton Wilson, Mason McCormick been playing lights out. Derek Harmon.
Well, if that was the
case, he's been a stud on that line. And Jack
our offensive line wouldn't have been as bad as it was.
So he's like, for first. Those picks have been improving, man. That team is getting that offensive line's a lot better than it was when he took.
And then last week it was as bad as it's been. So again, it's it leads into a whole other area. Why is this not consistent? So again? I do. I like his aggressiveness. I love his ability to pull the trigger and his not being afraid. But so far the results they're going the opposite direction. That's all I could go by is. It doesn't look as good as it did last year. Not at this point, at least. We made it at least halfway through the season, not being this tight. And again, we're one game away from losing to guys. We're hanging by a string at this point, and we're hoping that we could beat the Cincinnati Bengals to stay in it. And that's not a good thing. A lot of indications point that things aren't good. But we keep trugging along, guys. Cody says this. He says franchise quarterback he would rather have than the head coach. Tortilla says the NBA is rigged. Jen says, and they show his package on TV. She likes that most about Warren, not his running style, not his strength, not his any of that. She loves the package on TV, which I understand. I'm certainly guilty, but not of Jalen Warren, of course. Even people of the opposite gender. Vegas says this. Jesse was what Hulk Hogan wanted to be. Mark Malone says we're going to need Robustrous Jones to show up. Siamala hopefully can get back right. When I was reading on the board somewhere, somebody had that Andrews Pete is actually older than everybody else on that line. We got issues, man. Quarterback for sure. Jen is picking over the coach as well. John said I was wondering if Jenny was still here. Richard says franchise quarterback over Mike T. Tortilla says Omar Khan is making moves for some reason they just haven't clicked. I honestly hope we keep after Tomlin. Cody says trade Broderick Jones first and the 2027 second to the Titans. Move up in front of the Jets and Browns. I'm sure the Browns will draft up all the quarterbacks. Leave some for the rest of us, you fuckers. Mark Malone, we need to draft 2 wide receivers high next year. Jamal says this still isn't worse than the Pickett. I don't know. Let's look. In a few weeks, we'll be able to tell, dude. Kenny Pickett did at least get some winning seasons. Corey, what's up, bro? Corey says this franchise quarterback that can win big games, hands down, with an offensive-minded head coach and a competent defensive coordinator. Cody says that. Jamal, I agree. Can you imagine if we have a better record with Pickett than Raw? It's getting there, guys. It's certainly doable. Tortilla says we need to draft 2 of everything next year. 12 picks. And it's like I said, it's got to be like the Noah's Ark. We just got to draft 2 of everything. It will be okay. Get 2 of this, 2 of that, 2 of these. Jamal says, where is the goat dust? We haven't won since Roger sniffed that shit. Hey, what's up, Kenny? Always great seeing you on the terrible board. He says, well, hello, guys. Always great seeing Kenny Jones. My man, hope everything is going well for you. Vegas says the comedian Jim Norton said that it's all a joke. A long time ago, he said it's written on the box. I've never verified it. If it is, though. Cody says vanilla, unless it's Cam Ward. Titans suck.
They ass.
They ass, man.
In the league.
Bingo, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Bingo Winchester on the board. Bingo says being home of the Rooney Rule, Tomlin could win 4 games all year and still have his job. Call me what you want, but you know it's fucking true. Jamal says, yep, at Bingo. What's that?
Huh? No, I'm good.
Go ahead. I didn't hear what you said.
Nothing.
No, what did you say?
No, nothing.
Now you're making things weird. Just what did you say? It had to be about the Rooney Rule.
No, we're good.
No, what did you say?
I said, at least he knows what he is.
At least who knows what who is?
The comment that you read.
What does that mean? He knows who what is.
He said what he said, and I said at least he knows what he is.
What is he? I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Who thinks who is?
Whatever.
You seem like you need to make a point, and I'm not understanding what you're saying.
No, we're good. We can move on.
No, because it seemed like you was saying something controversial, and I wanted to get in the middle of it.
No, we're good.
No. You were starting your shit.
No.
Well, we have to talk about it. What was it? This is what we told. We talk. Come on. What was you saying?
No, we can move on.
What does who think who is? Bingo?
Yeah, bingo. Well, yeah, if he's the one who said it, yeah, then he is what he thinks he is.
Who is what who thinks who is? Bingo is what.
Read his comment again. Yeah.
Bingo thinks Tomlin is what Tomlin is?
No, Bingo thinks he is what he is.
What is he?
What he thinks he is.
What does he think? Mike, I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody knows what you're saying. What does he think he is? What's going on with you? What's the matter? Okay, let's get back on the board. Not really sure what the hell that was. But Jamal says this Bingo, Mike T for life, bro. Mike T for life. Also, Somber says Mike T in Pickett. Mike McDaniel or in a franchise quarterback. Mike T and Pickett or Mike McDaniel and a franchise quarterback. I need my franchise quarterback.
Not Mike McDaniels.
I need my franchise quarterback. I do. You're not going to win nothing. You're not going to win anything without your franchise quarterback. It's just not going to happen. Look around the league. Look who's winning. Look who doesn't. This is a very, very effective secret in the NFL. Get your guy, you win. Don't you lose. Man, I can't stand Mike McDaniel. That's what Jamal is saying on the board. They activated Howard. They did. He is activated. Tortilla says if Trice can play even one down, that's a win. I just don't know how much. I don't know how much we could take. Any more patience with this guy?
That might be all there is out of Corey Trice's one play.
Bingo says Ramsey's decent in the blitz, so he would be good covering the slot. Oh, hold on. Jamal says he's a geek. I think he's talking about McDaniel. Yeah, McDaniel is a geek. Cody says, although I enjoy McDaniel's trolling, dude is clutch. True Thong. He says Juan Valdez used to sell coffee. That's right. He would take his trusty donkey and head off into the hills of Colombia and pick their beans. Cody says this. He says Juan Thornhill got the boat. Somber says, I bet Arthur Smith is gone after this season. Vegas says Johnny was signed for what reason again? I'm still trying to figure it out. I am still trying to figure it out. I wish some of the people that had it all figured out would tell me, but I can't get anybody to have a good answer on Jonnu Smith.
Talking about a disappointment.
You ain't shitting.
Every time he's had the ball in his hands, he just looks slow and unathletic.
And drops everything and doesn't. He's not. What is going on? Cody says De Castro back in action. Sebastian Castro. Yes, we did pluck him back. Tampa Bay plucked him from us, and we got him back. Arthur Smith at Vegas. Vegas 1, 2, 3, 4. Jamal. Let's hope that Somber, these old ass players, plays got to stop. Somber can't beat good teams. Nothing new. Bingo Winchester. Any 15-year-old kid familiar with Madden is better than Arthur Smith. It's a bit of a head scratcher. I would agree. What he has going on. True Thong says Tomlin's Hall of Fame speech should be a truthful admission that this honor belongs to Bill Cowher and the team he built. Cody says the Rodgers short game passes are getting to be so predictable. You know it's bad, and when Bud Dupree drops into coverage because he knows what's coming, it's like Rodgers knows where he's throwing the ball in the huddle. Somber says after the last offensive performance, MVS better be elevated, and I'm guessing he'll take Keshawn's spot. Fearless Steel says Truth at Truth Thong. He says, damn. Vegas says maybe Aaron will get tired of the BS and go crazy and take his pads off and walk off the field like AB. I did want to throw out there, guys, that Antonio Brown did plead not guilty to his attempted murder charge. He had his lawyer plead not guilty, and he is on house arrest. He has a mechanism on his ankle and a few other things, so he can't skip town. I think he paid $25,000 bail, but just to throw that in there because I see Antonio Brown's name. Antonio Brown pleads not guilty to his attempted murder charge. So we'll keep an eye on that as well, of course. Tortilla says, yeah, Mike Tomlin's game plan is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the days of the week. Vegas says there are 10 countries that spend less than the Steelers on defense. Yeah, we spend, Vegas says someplace named Bhutan spends $14 million. Wow. Vegas says Ted Cruz left his.
Damn.
Vegas says Ted Cruz left his dog at home and left Texas when it got cold. I don't blame him. Get me the fuck out of it. Hey, you know what? Texas cold. How cold does it get down there? What is the coldest you guys get in Texas? Kind of curious on that. Cody says, I'm just going to say Derpy would win this week. Jabal says, Somber, is Scotty still on the roster? No way. MVS could take a Sean spot. Who would kick return? And we did say, Jamal, that he did. Scotty Miller is practicing this week and is eligible to play. I don't know. I mean, his one catch that he had to this point, I just can't wait to get him back in the action here.
I think Scotty Miller would be the one to be cut, and then MVS would go right into being eliminated to the roster.
I can't honestly say I don't feel that he hasn't been cut. One catch in
I know, right?
9 games. That's not anything.
Mm-mm.
That's what Spencer Anderson has.
Exactly.
And this was supposed to be, someone strong enough to support this wide receiver room. So, B. Jones is so trash. That's Jamal. Tortilla says Steelers defense cost $23 million more than the first Iron Man movie. Wow. Somber says, Jamal, I don't know. Calvin and Gainwell again. Rogers is going to want MVS elevated. Mark Malone, yeah, we need to be getting Warren and Washington the ball a lot more. Cody says this. Why is Pete at left guard? He sucks. They should have put him in on the jumbo package and left Spencer Anderson at the left guard. Why did they move that position around so much, Mike?
I don't know why they did that. I was wondering that too. I like the way Spencer Anderson was playing at guard when he filled in, unless they think him on the outside on those jumbo packages where he's more athletic to get outside and start blocking people. Maybe that was their thought process.
I'm going to get to a couple of things here. I'm going to jump in and get the results from the CBS Pick'ems out real quick, and then we will continue. I still have a lot more to get into, Mike. Still a lot on the board. Still a lot more to talk about. I could just jump into my CBS Pick'em results here real quick. It'll take a minute while that does that, but I'm going to get them and get these out, Mike, so we can find out who won, who the biggest loser is for the week. Where do you stand with Derpy? Because that's been the competition all along. So we'll take a look at all these important numbers and statistics and see how it played out, because you don't want to forget tomorrow. Tomorrow, week 11 is kicking off. Thursday Night Football. You're going to want to make sure you get your CBS Pick'ems, at least tomorrow's pick, done before tomorrow, so you don't miss out. Try to get as many wins as you can. If you're interested and you want to join, there's a bunch of guys from the Terrible Board. We're on there. We're just making our picks week to week, see how things go. You could always, Michael put the link up on the Terrible Board. It takes less than 30 seconds to sign up. It costs absolutely nothing. Just go in and sign up, and you can make your picks as of right now. So let me get in for the results for this week, Mike. We will get back to the Steelers, but I don't want to delay this any longer. Let me get the results here. I'm going to give you the standings from this week, and then I'm going to give you what the overall standings look like as of right now. As soon as my computer updates, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go right here. And Mike got the link up there on the board. All right, guys, this is what it looked like over last week. This is how the picks played out. Mike Derpy, high atop the list, hovering like an angel last week. And yeah, go ahead.
See, I still say, his picks should not have counted. But, the Myron Cope came from the great beyond and allowed them.
Yes, he did.
I think he had some divine intervention. I still think the picks are tainted.
You think the picks are tainted?
Tainted. Emphasis on the taint.
All right, let me get back in it. It bounced me out, and I'm heading back in. All right, so standings. Here we go. I'm gonna grab a message while it's spinning on. Oh, here it goes. All right. So as of today, Mike, this is what the totals look like, and then I'll get into what just happened over the weekend. RB first place, 103 games picked correct since the beginning of the season. Vegas 101 in second place.
Ooh.
Richard 96 in third place. Corey Beavers and myself tied in fourth with 94 points. Derpy 92 points. Cody 91 points on the season. Finch and Mike 89 points on the season. Phil the Steel catching up 83 on the season. Jamal 34. Tyrone 15. Yinzer Joe 8 Yinzer Joe 8 and Somber coming on in his first week. He has 7. Mike, so as of right now, RB 103 points with the overall lead as of right now.
Dominating.
Now let me get you some results on how this last weekend just played out. It went a little bit like this. Derpy wins, Mike. He won 9. He got 9 correct, 9 out of 14 from last week. He was this week's champion on the CBS Pick'ems. Yinzer Joe, Vegas, RB, and Field of Steel. They all had 8, Mike, in second place. Those 4 gentlemen, they all had 8 correct.
Nice.
Me, Richard, Cody, Corey, Finch, Somber, Tyrone all had 7. Mike managed 6, and Jamal unfortunately did fall into the biggest loser position. He did get 5 correct out of 14 for the week, but that's all right. You could always bounce back in as early as tomorrow, because Thursday Night Football does kick off week 11 tomorrow night. So if you didn't finish at the top, that's fine. just keep building up. But I just want to say congratulations to Derpy. 9 points collected this week, 9 games correct out of 14, and overall it is RB has the lead. So great job, guys. Keep up the good work. Like I said, don't miss out. Tomorrow we'll get back at it and see how we can do.
I'm just glad Jamal picked this week, so I was not the biggest loser. Thank you, Jamal. Thanks for take one for the team, bud. Appreciate it.
Well, you do have your healthy your healthy competition with Derpy as well, and that's always a thing that we try to keep our eye on as well when we do this.
I still say Derpy had a week's worth of picks that were not valid, and that Steeler game not valid. So, but I'm not going to protest. I'm not going to be like a baseball manager. I'm like, we're playing this game under protest. I'm just going to keep pointing it out because I'm losing.
A couple of notes I do want to say. Matt Hasselbeck, of course, you guys remember Matt Hasselbeck. It was our opposing quarterback in Super Bowl 40 whenever we went to the Detroit. We went to Detroit to play in the Super Bowl. Matt Hasselbeck says this about the Steelers. He says the Steelers offense looks like what Aaron Rodgers was doing at the Jets right now. This is what it looked like in his last game. If you watched our offense, he said very similar to what you were seeing in that Jets offense last year.
Yeah, because you can definitely this last game, man, he could not hit anything 10 to 12 yards down the field.
It's
anything
crazy.
Past that, it was an adventure to say the least.
And it's 3 points is basically what we put up through the course of this game. It wasn't good, guys. It wasn't good. Let me get to these PFF scores, Mike, for the week. Who was the best players on these Steelers offense and defense according to PFF? Which we kind of do as a joke, but here we go. PFF, Mike, the best rated Steeler on the weekend on the offensive side of the ball with an 81.1, Zach Frazier. Number 2 with a 76.5, Pat Freiermuth. It's just at some point you start wondering yourself, where did these people start getting their good grades when basically, again, you'll see. Washington coming in 3rd with a 72.4. Roman Wilson coming in 4th with the 71. And finally, Troy Fatanu with the 64.7 for your top 5 PFF scores on the offense. Mike, on defense, Y.A. Black, the highest graded defensive player. Y.A. Black. I know that I've seen a couple other guys make some plays. Y.A. I just didn't stand out, but okay, he got 91, Mike. He played the best on the whole Steeler team according to PFF points. Again, PFF.
Excuse me. How many snaps did he even play?
Exactly. That's why.
That's what I'm trying. Like in those snaps, did he play that well? That's insane.
Number 2 on the defensive side of the ball, PFF scores, Mike. Cam Hayward 89.4, Alex Highsmith 79.3. This one I see. Pierre 78.9. I see Pierre making plays out there.
Yeah. Pierre's coming a little baller out there.
Yeah, come on. And then Benton finally, Mike, comes in 5. Benton, who had the sacks and everything else, he scores about 13 points lower than the guy who came in first. That's why the PFF is crazy. They're nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely
It
nuts.
is. It's wildly inconsistent, to say the least.
It sure is. Let me find where we're at on the board, Mike, as we start to round third base on the show today. Let's find where we're at here. Where was the other Anderson? Calvin. I don't think we made it that far. B. Jones is trash. I know we made it that far. I'm just going to go right here. Cody says, why was Pete? Okay, we did get that one. Either Joe says, Bro Jones has had a slot of help because of the scheme. When someone goes down, he can't handle his blocks. Ciamalo needs to get back fast so they can go back to the heavy set formations. Excuse me. Somber says Pete is older. Spencer is younger and athletic enough to be the 6'0" lineman. Pete isn't. Cody says, Somber, what about Calvin Anderson? Cody also goes on to say, I don't know. That first play Pete set back just pissed me off, I guess.
Yeah, that one was not a good tone setter for the game.
He follows it up. Somber follows it up by saying, not sure why they didn't play him. Maybe they tried him out at practice and Pete was better. Who knows? Tortilla says, Mike Tomlin may not love losing, but he sure has talent for it. Cody says this: they kick the ball out of bounds and we get the ball at the 40 and do nothing. It was, again, yeah, in competitive play, we got 3 points. If you think about it. Bingo says this: since Asante Samuels Jr. has fused bones in his neck, he can still be flagged for pass interference when he doesn't get his head around to the ball. Isn't that insensitive or something, like calling somebody a retard? Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Is he going to be out there like this?
He might be. I mean, that's a good
Who was
point.
it on SNL? Pat. She had the weird neck.
Yeah. I mean, it's something. It's got to put it in consideration. Cody says MVS for life. Mark Malone says, I don't think there was anyone out there that would have moved the needle. Agreed, Mark Somber says, talking about the trade line. Jen says, I think if they would have made a trade that would not allow us to trade up for a quarterback in the draft, I'm going to be pissed. I think it's to be determined. I mean, this is where the money's going, guys. This is the big thing, is the draft. They know it. They know this is the big money maker. Richard says it feels like we missed out, but I did not see any trades we really missed up for their value. Well, here's the thing, guys. It's been a couple seasons again, and I hate to keep saying this, but again, it's continuing to be a thing. 2 years now without a wide receiver too. None of those guys looked okay enough to help maybe the offense last week. One of them guys could have maybe got open where one of the less experienced guys didn't, or I don't know. I don't know how you can't. We're expecting this kid to come back from his infusion to have to help the team. So why couldn't that happen on offense as well? Still, guys, there's a lot about this team that needs work right now. I really do believe that. Also, Richard says it feels like we missed. Okay, but I did not see trades. Jamal says at least we have a corner that can catch now.
This is true. You can catch.
Who? Which one? I've never seen him play. I've never seen him play a snap in our uniform yet. The guy just has bones fused together. So again, there's still a lot. There's a lot to question there. That's kind of a thing. It's kind of a big thing. And last week, Mike, you were saying that it was a thing. So, we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's a thing. They just spend big money on him, cheap.
Nobody's saying that he is. I mean, we're just talking about
high risk or high reward, low risk. I'm not thrilled about it. I don't think it's a needle mover, but if you could turn, comes out and plays the way he's
just keep adding more and more and more to that highest defensive. I'm not talking about money.
Take away. Maybe if we just strip it down to like only have 13 guys on defense.
Well, who are you taking away?
The defense will
who
play
are you
better.
taking away?
Me, I'm taking away Darius Slay.
You said take away. I'm not understanding. Is that what you mean?
You
take away?
Like we just keep adding to. Yeah, because it's not performing the way it should be. So you go out and hopefully find better resources.
Why does it only work on defense and not on offense in the conversations today? Why is it only?
Hey, we wasn't going out on MVS, baby, man. That's a needle mover, right?
Exactly.
There.
What a joke.
Yeah.
John says there is marketing and all in all, real all in. The Steelers give the fans marketing all in. Phyllis Steele has been telling you all these moves in the offseason are Teflon Don's last flip. It really feels like we got our back against the wall, guys. I'm seeing it too, Phil. Some of these things that we're doing are uncharacteristic of a lot of teams in general, not just teams that are desperate, but we're seeing what I think are desperate moves. He follows it up by saying he's done and got to hang it up by Teflon Don. Vegas says these college quarterbacks that are supposed to be good don't even look like they're all that. So the quarterback pick next year will be around 2 or 3. I mean, come on, this the guy that everyone's going on and on about could barely beat Penn State. I mean, this is one of the better quarterbacks. John says, Mike, agree. Time to look at individual players who can help build the future, not the one-year rentals. Samuel's 26 years old. He can still help the team if his neck holds up. I mean, that's kind of a big if, though, guys. I mean, if Ryan Shazier gets healthy, we're going to say, hey, let's bring him back. If he holds up, we'll be fine. No, that's a big injury. And you don't know what that does to the psyche of somebody. I mean, come on. But I do agree with you guys in that sense as well, though. You do have to start going after younger guys, and these one-year-old men rentals obviously aren't the answer. And if it was, I don't know if we even thought that they were, Mike. It was kind of a bridge. I think that Aaron Rodgers has been a bridge for us this whole time. We've admitted that. We've never said that this is the answer. So again, it's still in the works. It's always in the works. We'll see what we could do next. Jamal says that, Cody, I forgot to tell you that she won't leave until you pay her, bro.
Whoa.
Vegas says the 33rd house keeping Olympics going on in Vegas this week. Phil says, yay, 500 seasons, no more AFC games. Yay. Hey, that's one thing we don't have to worry about is losing AFC championship games. I mean, come on. Chances are very low that that's going to happen. Vegas says, who is the veteran leader on Muth? I think the veteran leader's Aaron, right? I think.
Yeah, he should be.
Like I said, I think what he says to the coaches has influence. It certainly does. Jamal says Tomlin isn't going anywhere. Cody says the Browns would give us 4 first-round picks for Tomlin and be happy about it. Andrew Joe says some teams have been below mediocrity so long that they'd pay big for mediocrity. And so I agree. Somebody would love to have him. A team that hasn't been any good forever. Tortilla, Mike Tomlin will be the greatest used car salesman of all time. Field of Steel, Vanilla wants Tomlin until I don't know when.
I've been on record as saying we should move on from him.
Cody says probably pay him $238 million guarantee and fire him in year 2. That sounds like a Steeler move. Jamal, MT for life. Get over it. Mark Malone, I'd take a fourth or fifth rounder for Tomlin. I doubt anyone would give that up, though. Tortilla says, you got red paint. Paint the Ford red. Yeah, that'll be his comments after this game next week. We'll see. Jamal says, stop hating, Mark. Bingo says, you don't even need to check Carfax. Stop living in your fears. Kenneth says, with the inconsistencies we have, including Rodgers' last performance, the smaller moves we made were smarter. John says, Rodgers looked like a scared nun at the Vikings raid last week.
That's a good one. I got that reference.
Tortilla says, the only way, and I mean the only way the Steelers put up 50 is if the Bengals put up 51. You got to remember, we did put up a bunch of points, didn't we? We scored over 30. So I don't have a problem thinking we could score points. But apparently we have to go out and get every single defensive back that ever existed to try to stop the pass, and that could be a problem. Vegas says, brings the new meaning to milkshake brings all the girls to the yard. Damn right. I love it. Yes. Forget what her name is, though. I forget.
Was that Fergie?
No, it's not Fergie. That's Lady Lumps. Kesha.
Oh, I can't remember.
Kenneth says, John, he was a deer in the headlights, talking about Aaron, I think. Cody says Jamal loves him. Some McCormick. He's got his McCormick jersey on under his Muth jersey. Echelon Motion Pictures. What's up, bro? Great seeing you on the terrible board. Echelon says Steelers better hurry up and sign Asante Samuel Jr. to the 53-man before the Eagles snatch him up. Oh, wait, it doesn't matter. They're going to lose anyway. Somber says Broderick is too inconsistent. We need another tackle. I try to be patient with him, but I'm done. We need tackle, guard, quarterback, wide receiver, 2 corners, safety, linebacker, maybe another running back late to replace Gainwell next year. We need a lot, Somber says. True Thong says, I see Jalen Warren having a monster game. Right? Me too. And he better, because if he really better. Mike, I think what was their defense was terrible in stopping the run and the pass and everything else, I guess, as well. So this, if you can't beat the Bengals, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I'm running out of excuses for this team. Cody says, I like to watch.
I'm trying to find out where they rank against the run here. Oh, yeah, they're the worst team against the run. We should be able to run the ball on them.
Cody says, I like to watch college volleyball or college. Me too, man. Those are some of my favorite things to watch. John says, I think they need quarterback, left tackle, left guard, wide receiver, defensive tackle, inside linebacker, cornerback, safety. Not all can be filled in one draft. Jamal says, big facts. The Somber tried to give that bitch Broderick a chance, but he's still trash every single week. When they're winning, like I said, we could shovel it. We could kind of just sweep it under the rug. They did well enough. He's improving. But I tell you what, when they lose, it's sure highlighted, man. Phil still says, I just want a new head coach and coaches that have a chin that can take a punch. Tortilla says, must have been the wind. Bingo says, go ahead and say it. Cody says, I know that you know that I know what you were thinking. Vegas says Bingo was his name-o. Phil still also says, and the only Phil still says, and not only take a punch, but come back with some freaking shotgun blast. Tortilla says, Vanilla Mike Tomlin Thunder.
Damn, Tortilla.
Mark Malone, what is he, fucking Popeye or something? Vegas says, what just happened? LOL. Jamal. Bingo says, I think I am awesome. That's there you go, Mike. He said whatever he thinks he is he thinks he's awesome. So I'm going to go with that because I don't understand what the hell happened either. Cody says glitch in the simulation. Tortilla, that was more uncomfortable than a Mike Tomlin press conference. Jamal, the best show on YouTube right here. We thank you, brother. Hey, you know what? I can test that. I love coming over to your show too, man. I hope you got everything set up on your computer, dude. I did. I came over yesterday, and I like I said, I seen you. You kept making it in, and then kept popping you back out. I'm not sure what happened. Also, Bingo says it's like when mom and dad were fighting. Somber says get your guy, you win, unless you're the Bungles. You're right, but you know what? Even getting their guy got him to the Super Bowl. You know, within his first couple seasons, Joe Burrow was in the Super Bowl. So, you know, Field of Steel says BINGO and Bingo was his name. Oh. Vegas says, I swear I saw the same black cat. The Matrix. Jamal Echelon says, one day people will realize Steelers can't develop talent anymore, so it doesn't matter who you bring as your franchise quarterback in. He will end up being okay and never reach his full potential. Jamal says, man, I like the Matrix. Kenneth says, Broderick is showing just how much Isaac is really helping him out. He's pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, his worst game was the game that Isaac Seumalo wasn't in there helping him. Tortilla says Brown always finds a gap in the defense. John says claiming Tomlin is still around because of Rooney Rule isn't racist, not when one is supporting an organization with money and time that is mostly minority. Well, that's always a good argument too. A majority of the players
implying that someone's only there because of a rule.
Well,
yeah, that is inherently racist. But
if his results tell you that he shouldn't be there, but yet they don't even raise about an eyelash,
would you just to say this?
Why does it always have to be racist with you? Why?
Because it fucking is.
It
Jesus
is
Christ, how hard is this for people to understand?
Well, if it was
the Rooney Rule or DEI or shit like that you're just saying that you hide behind something to hide.
No, do you want me to tell you why you're wrong?
It's so
you want me to tell you why you're wrong? I could tell you why you're wrong right now. I could tell you why you're wrong.
I'm not going down this conversation.
All right.
No.
Well, peace. I'll talk to everybody else why you're wrong. So this is why he's wrong. Martin Luther King.
Talk all you want. I don't have my head.
I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. Martin Luther King says this. Martin Luther King says, I am going to judge.
Martin Luther King. I
thought you wasn't listening. Please back off.
Bring up DEI or the Rooney Rule. They're being
Mike, I'm proving you wrong right now. So if you shut the fuck up and listen, I'll tell you what I'm going to say. Martin Luther King says we should judge people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Now, what the Rooney Rule has done has put the teams in position to have to do this or that or the other, what they're claiming. So when people are saying that he is not being fired because of the Rooney Rule, is he not being fired because of his accomplishments and what's being done? Or is he being protected by the Rooney Rule? Again, if it was a racist league, it would be different. The fact of the matter is a majority of the players in the league are black. So for people to say that this is racism, he's doing a terrible. Listen, this team has been on the decline for 10 years. That's nothing to do with his race. His performance, the content of what he's doing, the context of what he's doing is why I want him gone as my coach. Not because he's black, but the Rooney Rule technically is what Martin Luther King spoke against. Because of what he could do, his accomplishments, what he brings to the table is why you should be hired, no matter what color you are. But by putting people in certain colors in certain situations to be ahead of other people, that goes against what Martin Luther King preached. And that I believe heavily in, and I always have. So that's where I'm coming from. Why you can't see anything that isn't without saying it's racist is beyond me. It makes no sense. Why don't they make so many Chinese people apply for the job? Why don't they make so many Latino people apply for the job? You know, I want Tomlin to be moved because of our team stinks. That's all. That's what he brings to the table. And if they replace him with another black guy, I promise you I'll be just as fine as long as the guy comes in and does his fucking job and gets us back on the on the winning side of this. So you're insane. So let me get back to the comments. And I hope that makes sense because again, Martin Luther King didn't want people to be put in a position because of their color. And by the Rooney Rule, people were being put in the position because of their color. Again, if it was ice hockey and 99% of the 99% of the players were white, maybe you have an argument. So again, I don't think it's race related. I think that I just think again, guys, I don't know if the Rooney Rule helped the situation in the NFL. If they hire the next guy and he's a black guy and he does well, I'm going to be his fan and I'm going to support him. But if he comes and fails, I will want him gone too, just as I would want a Chinese guy or a Mexican or anybody else who gets the job who is not getting the job done. If the Rooney Rule is so fair, why aren't we asking for X amount of applications and interviews on Latino coaches? Why? They're out there. That's all. I live by Martin Luther King's way more than the fucking Rooney Rule. I'm going to be honest with you, because I thought he was more fair. That's my opinion. Let's get back at it though. We do got a lot to get through, guys. And if he goes elsewhere, you know what? I don't hate Mike Tomlin. If people didn't like him because he was black, you wouldn't. I would support Mike Tomlin anywhere he went. I just don't want him here not winning anymore. That's a problem for me and my team for 10 years. That's all. Call me crazy. Vegas says, and they say money can't buy happiness. Okay, all right, right here. Jamal says facts at Tortilla right up KB's ass. Jamal also says Malik Harrison needs to start again. Cody, 28 degrees. John, I've seen minus 70 without wind. Chilling Alaska made me want to cry. Cody says, what the fuck? Minus 70? Nah, you minus 70. That's insane. Echelon Motion Picture says, just a personal thing for me. DK not crying for the ball enough for me. He claims he's wide receiver one. He claims he's an alpha. You get 5 targets a game, max. Demand the ball and start balling the fuck out. The offense needs it. Tortilla says, everyone bet against the Steelers this week. If Mike Tomlin's taking the under, I am too. Speaking of which, I do have another comment, guys, at the end of the show about baseball. There's a couple guys in baseball that are in some heat. One of them used to be a former Pittsburgh Pirate. Some more gambling shit. Bingo says they should remake The Matrix with Derpy and call it the Spectrum or the Scrotum. Either way. King Derpy, Vegas says also. Phil is still laughing at that. Mark Malone, what did Derpy ever do to get in Myron Gray's? Well, remember last week Myron Cope dropped by because I was looking for answers. I needed answers, and Myron Cope dropped. He showed up out of nowhere to help me. That was where the good graces came from. Jen says those pictures are tainted. Mike Derpy has angels flying in out of his ass. Jamal says I started late on the that's all right, dude. You know what? So did Phil. And Phil was right back in this thing, guys. Yoy, double yoy, Jen says. Tortilla instead of a red and blue pill, it's grilled cheese and a grilled cheese. It's a grilled cheese and a grilled cheese. Somber says, oh, nice 7 for my first week. I'll take it. Texas game effed me. Yeah, there was a couple in there that got me too this week, man. Yinzer Joe says, boy, did I start this game. That's all right, dude. Just keep it up, man. Like I said, Phil was late. Phil was a latecomer, and you know what? He's right up in the tops. You know, he's getting in there with the rest of the crew. So just got to stick it out, man. Some bad weeks will get some people, and good weeks will get other people in. So keep involved. Jamal says, loser, and I love it. Tortilla says, I can see Derpy and Connor Hayward being the main characters in a Seth Rogen movie. Cody says Bucks at Bills, Seahawks at Rams, Lions and Eagles. I'm fucked this week. At least there's going to be some good games. Kenneth says at this point, what good is it to keep Trice knowing that you have a couple backup plans in this? You know what? And as much as I agree, I love Trice. I loved him since day one. I just don't know if he's going to work. I just don't know if this. How can you be injured all the time? How can you be injured all the time, man? You're a football player. How'd you get to this point in your life? Mark Malone. Kenneth, they can just toss him on IR for the year, see if he can play next. They're not paying him anything. Cody, do you guys think that Rodgers is checking out of runs to throw the ball and it's not working? I think so sometimes, yes. Bingo says sometimes, sure. Vegas says 37-22. Time of possession is crazy. Absolutely. Especially considering that, again, like I said, guys, the Chargers line, their center is 36 out of 36 centers in the league. The right tackle's 35 out of 36 tackles in the league. The right guard, 36 out of 37 tackles in the league. And the left tackle, 38 out of 38 in the league. This team was able to continue to do that to us all game and hold the possession for 2/3 of a game. That's insane. We got issues. I watched John says he watched the Jets Rodgers tape. He says he agrees. It looks similar to what was going on with the Jets with him. Field of Steel says, Cody, seriously, isn't it obvious 30 busting runs, but 8 wants the glory in the end zone? Bingo says, according to PFF, I couldn't play one snap, fall over backwards into a strip sack like Don Knotts and be fitted for a gold jacket. He said you could do that. John says, I watched the Chargers versus Steelers, all 22, the end from the Doors. Great song. Vegas says, not Mr. Furley. Bingo says, did it sync up like Pink Floyd and the Wizard of Oz? Would be awesome. John says they tried to get Jesus Christ, but he only plays for winners and wanted to wear his sandals instead of cleats. John says Ryan Samuels was a low-risk acquisition. I'm sorry. Mark Malone, they say it's a newer procedure that has much higher success rate with Samuel. Thinking about the neck, the spine infusion. Tortilla says we could just plug a paralyzed Shazier in right now and be better, right? John, yes, the Doors, baby. That song is great. Donald Lurie, what's up, dude? Always great seeing Donald Lurie on the board. Donald says this: even if there were 10 good, it's in the draft. Mike Tomlin would still pick the wrong one. Phil says, bull, vanilla, bull. Bingo says, I mean, if you screw two 2x4s together, it's stronger than two 2x4s separate. So he'll fuse all of his bones together and just yeet him at the quarterback. And that's the thing. If it works out that way, but again, he's human. What goes through the human mind? These guys are moving very fast out there. They're strong. They're big. So, I hope it doesn't play, those things sitting in the back of your mind, man. Somber. Kellis was her name. Yes, that was the milkshake lady. Jamal says it's not McCormick, it's McCollum. Ryan McCollum. Mark Malone, I want a real short Asian coach that hates black people, a real little mean fucker. Mark Malone also says like Chow from Hangover. If they getting their opportunities too, that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, let's be fair, everybody. I don't want to have nothing over you. I don't want you to have nothing. Let's all be fair. Let's do this so it benefits everybody, right? That's what Martin Luther King wanted, and that's what I want. Vegas says Shane Gillis calling Nick Saban Alabama Jones will always be funny. Vegas time said time for your finishing move. And I know, where's the finishing move? He ran off. John said I was wrong about the time, but right about the meltdown. You did get the meltdown right, John. You were on for a game ball today. Also, Vegas says falls anywhere, no limit, no time limit, no DQs. Tortilla, I have a dream that little black Yinzers and little white Yinzers will watch the Steelers win the Super Bowl. That's where I'm at. That's like, listen, that's Tortilla, yes. And the little Asian. Don't forget the little Asian Yinzers. They always get forgot. Mark Malone, Mike has gone to binge watch The View. Let's see. Phil the Steel, yes, it's over. Please hang it up, Tomlin. Please. The black and gold have no identity. Tortilla says Mike is the next guest on The View. He's heading over right now. John says, frankly, I would prefer Tomlin to change his approach and start winning again with a new staff and philosophy than be fired. Yes, thank you. Let's fix it. If you could fix the problem, that would be a lot better than firing and hiring and going through the whole process. That's what I'm saying. Or maybe he's just not good enough to do that, guys. Where am I wrong? We haven't won a playoff game in 9 years, longest time in Super Bowl era. The Pittsburgh Steelers haven't won a playoff game. That's a problem. That has nothing to do with the skin color. This is telling me that he's having a hard time adapting and making things to where we could get back to where we need to be. How one could be blamed for someone's skin color when you have the results that you have? It's fucking stupid. Tortilla, if Mike Tomlin was white, he'd be the owner by now. Ay. Also, Phyllis still says, I got hired. I'm Spanish and I sucked and I got fired. Nothing racist about that. You say exactly. Thank you. Somebody please start talking more sense on here. Phil says this. He says, I got hired and I'm Spanish and I sucked and I got fired. Believe me, I was there too. And I got fired from my jobs and I'm white. So, throw that shit out the window. He says, nothing racist about that. You suck at your job. Goodbye. The now Roonies are under an agenda that is hurting the black and gold legacy. I agree, guys. Come on. Let's be smart. There's nothing to do with this guy's fucking race. Just knock it off. I think there's plenty of arguments that can indicate that there's a lot of things that why people might not want the guy in here anymore. Bill still says, John, no 18 years is enough by Teflon Dawn. Mark Malone says, oh, I know, but what did Derpy ever do to deserve the good grace? Yeah, it was because when Myron came, I asked him for his advice, and Myron Cope told me to let him go last week. So he got to place his picks, and he ultimately won. Vegas says they might as well put Pete in the Hall of Fame now before rightfully calling this the gambling era. Guys, Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Close, major league pitchers for the Cleveland Guardians, charged with taking bribes to rig pitches for bettors. I know it's not football, but I wanted to kind of slide that in because that's what we're talking about. Luis Ortiz, former Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher, and Emmanuel Close, major league pitchers for the Cleveland Guardians, charged with taking bribes to rig pitches for batters. So, the people call you crazy for thinking that it's going on. It's definitely going on, and it's only going to get worse. I hate it. I hate having gambling affecting sports. It's terrible. I mean, it's competition. You want to see the best person win, Vegas says, I would love to know if a starting pitcher bet the over in the first 5 innings. You know what? Maybe that's what's going on with these guys. It's hard to say. Tortilla, Mike Tomlin isn't even the coach of the two dumb Yinzers is already dividing our locker room. He's not even our coach. Phyllis Steele says, I see my black and gold team go down and I want to change. And it's like I said, I don't necessarily want a white coach. I just want a coach that's going to win. Give me a coach that's going to win football games and make our team better and be innovative and do things that are going to make the team better over time. He could be Indian or whatever, working at the 7-Eleven. I don't care. I don't care who the fuck you are. Come here and coach this team to victory. You're in, bro. Tortilla, I had a hooker turn me down because I was wearing a Ramsey jersey. She called me broke. Vegas says maybe Vanilla went to get the go get the tables. John says Jim Morrison's father was an anal admiral in the Navy. He never listened to his son's anti-war songs and couldn't understand why he was famous. James Douglas Morrison. Tortilla says he's watching mic'd up Mike Tomlin videos. Vegas says if you're green or purple, I want you quarantined, not coaching the Steelers. Bingo said there's a fine line between feet flavored grape juice and fine wine. Wait, is that how it goes? Tortilla says I will be sad to see, and believe me, I'll be sad to see him go too. We'd just rather continue the same thing. Guys, a decade is a long enough period of time to know something about somebody's job, believe me. And if he fixes it all, again, Tortilla says, I'll be sad to see Mike Tomlin go. It will be a long time before we see another female coach. Mark Malone says, hell, the white race is the only race that's legally discriminated. I mean, whatever your opinion is, I'm not going to get into that whole conversation, but I have no problem with Mike Tomlin because he's a black guy, believe me. Never have, never will. Vegas says Bill Burr is going to have a field day with all this sports, but yeah, he sure is. John says, my father was in the Vietnam draft army in the 1970s. Most who got drafted were minorities with minority families living in army posts. My friends were 3 black brothers, 1 Mexican and 1 Puerto Rican. And that's the case with a lot of people in the service I know. I talked to a lot of people in the past couple of days because of Veterans Day. And you hear about Ramos and you hear about, I get you, man. John says, I was the minority in my neighborhood. We didn't even care. That's what I'm saying. In the 90s, we didn't care about this shit. We got along with everybody, man. Mark Malone says racial quotas, affirmative action, and other things have screwed many white racial people out of opportunities. Vegas says, if you don't know me by now. Donald says this. He says, I hope the next coach the Steelers hired is offensive-minded. Mark Malone says, not an opinion, it's the law. He says, like literally, it is the law, guys. So again, I just worded it that way to dance around it. Look what it does. Look where where's my roommate at? Where's my co-host at? Phil says, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Everybody, guys, it is time to get into the trivia question. But first, if you get a chance, go check out the Two Dumb Yinzers website. A lot of cool stuff over there, guys. Go check it out. www.the2dumbYinzers.com. That's www.the2dumbYinzers.com. Time to get into the trivia question of the day. How well do you know your enemy? How well do you know your opponent? Guys, put on your thinking caps. This is the Bengals question of the day. Grab a couple of these. Tortilla says, do you think kids nowadays would rather get drafted by the Army than the Steelers? Phil says, yes, offensive-minded coach that puts the foot on the gas. That's what I'm saying. Just something other than what's been going on for a decade. Why is that so hard to understand for people? As bad as things have been, you badmouth the guy, and it's like, oh, you're a racist. Get the fuck out of here. That's what I'm thinking about. Well, his team's going down the hill, down all fucking season and the past decade. Full of black guys. Yeah, come on. How fucking stupid of an argument. How stupid of an argument. Let's get to the question of the day, though, guys. Here we go. This is the question of the day. How many players do the Cincinnati Bengals have in the Hall of Fame? How many Bengals are in the Hall of Fame? Take a minute to think that over, guys. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. right here on the tube. Guys, the question of the day. How many players do the Cincinnati Bengals have in the Hall of Fame? I'll give you a hint. I know who 2 of them were. I'll just throw that out there. And also, you know what? I'm just going to leave that right there. I'll just leave that amount of information right there. Tortilla says, if I'm a racist, Mike Tomlin is a touchdownist. It's just unfair because the people out there, they're doing it the right way. What are you going to do? John says, I will only write this once. I traveled around 3 times. The worst racism comes within the race. They have worse with each other than from any outsider. Bingo says, no answer for Flacco, no gameplay for Burrow, no adjustments during the game. There's a loss. Vegas says, I want 2 giant D linemen, like 330 on the field at all times. That always takes up to 4 offensive linemen. Is that too much to ask? Tortilla's guessing 8. He's saying 8 guys from the Cincinnati Bengals in the Hall of Fame. Again, guys, the question of the day, how many players do the Cincinnati Bengals have in the Hall of Fame? Bingo is saying Icky, Boomer, and maybe 1 more. Phil saying 3. Tortilla saying 8. Question of the day, guys, how many players do the Cincinnati Bengals have in the Hall of Fame? I'll start giving you names, and I'll stop when I get to the right amount, First name, guys, Anthony Munoz. If you remember this tackle, as I did from when I was a kid, very memorable. He was certainly one of the best offensive linemen when I was a kid. Number 2, Paul Brown. No surprise there. Paul Brown, the founder of the Bengals and the Browns, and seems like everything else also that comes out of Ohio. Number 3, the wide receiver, made it into the Hall of Fame in 1996, Charlie Joyner. Charlie Joyner. Anybody remember Charlie Joyner? Is the third, number 3. Number 4, cornerback that was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2003, Ken Riley. Ken Riley. Guys, Ken Riley was 03, and that is literally it. The Cincinnati Bengals have four guys in the Hall of Fame: Anthony Munoz, Paul Brown, Charlie Joyner, and Ken Riley. And again, Riley gets in 03, Joyner gets in 96. Munoz, I think he was 98, if I'm not mistaken. And then everybody knows Paul Brown, of course. Four players from the Bengals are in the Hall of Fame. At least that's what Google tells me, guys. So there you go. Let me get back on the board, get some of these messages in before we do wrap it up for the day on this hump day. Let's see. That's an argument, but with all due respect, I'm going to jump over that, John, just to keep it with on topic, so we could, as I'm wrapping it up for the day here. Vegas says Icky Wood, UNLV. He didn't make it though. Anthony Munoz. He wore maybe 78. He was a big right tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. Very, very good lineman back in the day, no doubt. Jen says, my ex was black. I took him to a NASCAR race. He said he loved it, but felt like a chocolate chip in a sea of milk. Vegas says, I remember Charlie Joyner as a Charger with Fouts. No boomer bingo. And also, Phyllis still says, cheers to them Yinzers. Vanilla, come back. Don't be whiny and put shit like a man, brother. Not all of us think the same, and we express it, especially on our black and gold. Nut up, Vanilla. Vegas says, hell no, he ain't no Bengal Hall of Famer. Look at his stats. Who is that? Boomer. And all right, guys, I do appreciate that. Also, I want to say this: if you haven't had a chance, go swing by our social media. We are all over social media. Swing by any of our sites. We're on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Swing by, hit the follow button, and keep up with what the two dumb Yinzers are doing on a day-to-day basis. Also, if you haven't had the chance yet, hit the like button below. Hit the like, the share, the sub. Even throw a comment up if you would like. It helps us out. It helps with the algorithm, so we appreciate that. Thank you so much. And also, I do want to say this. As you're getting ready, we're here at Hump Day, so we're halfway there getting ready. But when you go to pick up your beer on Sunday for the big game, make sure to get yourself some Duquesne Pilsner. These guys always include us in their promotions, and we're greatly appreciative for them. And we just say, if you swing by, give them some love, hit their likes, give them a little bit of love on their social media. And also, before the game on Sunday, stop by and get yourself a case of Duquesne Pilsner made right here in Pittsburgh. Like it says right on the can, guys, grab a Duke. Kevin Harlan and Trent Green will be the announcers for the game on Sunday. It's a 1:00 start. The Steelers are 5.5-point favorites at home against the 3-6 Cincinnati Bengals. This is a Week 11 game, guys. And again, don't forget, Week 11 kicks off tomorrow night. So don't forget to get on and get your CBS picks in at least tomorrow's game, so you don't fall behind and lose out. Just want to remind everybody of that. Tortilla says it's like Dave Chappelle's skit where you call and talk shit. We got dumb Yinzers, mad Yinzers, deaf Yinzers. That's right, baby. We got it all. Listen, it's all love, man. It really is. Vegas says from 78 to 86, he was on the San Diego Chargers. Bengals from 72 to 75. Take it easy, party people. You too, Somber. Vegas, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. You're amazing. You're as always. We couldn't do this without you. I wanted to say thank you, everybody on the board. Always keeping it interesting, and then everybody at home as well. If you're on your pods, headphones, you're at the gym, work, wherever you may be, listening to the show, thank you too. I do believe that's going to be it for today, everybody. As we do wrap up the 2-hour and 30-minute mark, we'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again. We hope to see you then. we'll be getting into what we got to do to figure out how to win this Bengals game, guys. We'll be hitting the picks tomorrow for the week. Again, week 11 kicks off tomorrow night, so we'll get into that and a lot more tomorrow. We'll be back at our normal time. Tortilla, you as well, my friend. Everybody, again, have a great day. Have a great hump day. And we hope to see everybody back tomorrow, and we'll do it all again, guys. For Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio or wherever he went, myself, the two dumb Yinzers, everybody have a great hump day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.